Hello, welcome. I don't know why my intro did not work. Oh my goodness, so much stuff going on. It's crazy, crazy day, crazy time. Not bad things, just interesting things. Anyway, let me grab. Had some issues here with a couple of updates that Mac is going through, so I wanted to get the Zoom started up, as well as the Restream chat having some challenges there. Nothing crazy, so while I'm doing that, let me know where you're tuning in from. I got that right that time. That's awesome. Didn't take me that long, did it? Um, yeah, I need to start up the stream chat here so I'll be able to see that at least for a period of time. I still have to write down that I need to look into that, among other things. Okay, let's see. Restream. Chat stops working. And I was just researching the update for Big Sur, which is for Mac, and whether or not that's going to be compatible or work well with at all with OBS. So looks like there's a couple of small issues, but hopefully we'll be okay. Uh, Audio is looking good. Cool. So we're all here. Um, Today we're gonna what are we talking about today? Man, it's been one of those days. The last 24 hours have been very interesting. Again, really cool stuff and really just weird stuff. Not necessarily bad, just weird. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. This is great. So yesterday we had a in the mentorship we had a like a 4.5 hour call, by the way, and I'm not seeing anybody in the comments in Restream. So let me go over to Facebook real quick. Let me just double check and make sure everything's still okay on comments and whatnot. So if you're not in the Facebook or commenting under the stream, then I'm probably not going to see the comments at least until I figure out the Restream thing, which I just wrote down to check into because I've been having problems the last couple sessions with it. It's really weird. It just all of a sudden starts giving me shit, which is crazy because I haven't even done that update yet. So Adrian's here. Cool. John. Hey, what's going on, bud? Steve and Miro. Very cool. And it looks like there's more than that. So let me see if I can jump into the actual live stream. So without having to, there we go. Come on, open up on comments. There we go. All right, now I can see all the comments. Cool, 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 cool. That's helpful. Hey, Christina. Hey, Art. Good to see you guys here as well. Tim, John Hackwood. Very cool. All right. And Muhammad. Hey, from Guess Where? That's right. That's from Saudi Arabia. Very cool. Glad to have you all, and then some, of course, for everybody tuning in or watching the recordings. Today we're going to be talking about language. I say that here. I'll put up the comments and see what I'm saying. Where I say Restream's like, what is it doing? Why would it? What is it doing? I don't get it. Anyway, the I'm just gonna take that off. The um, the topic of the day is language, and language is obviously not the root. The root is going to be the mindset. But however, language can help you influence your own mindset. So if you ever wondered how people are seemingly brave in times of danger or great fear, times of great fear, uncertainty, if you ever wonder how people that are seem like introverts, yours truly, uh, do things like show up on camera. There's a trick to it, right? There's a trick to it. Oh, Jason's on. Hey, man, that's my best friend since middle school. What the hell's he doing here? And I'll be goddamned. The comment shows up. We're talking about language, not that kind of language. We'll get to that in a second. My best friend since middle school pops on to my live stream, makes a comment, and then it shows up on Restream. Thanks, Restream. Appreciate that. Anyway, I'll have to say hello to him a little bit later. The idea is language. So today we're talking about mindset for the business and specifically the pay per call business model, right? So I'm not a fucking Tony Robbins. I do curse. So when I say language, I'm not talking about cursing or not. Like I could care less whether you curse or don't curse, why you curse or don't curse, um, how you feel about other people that curse. I could care less if you love me, hate me, doesn't matter. As long as you listen to me in terms of the pay per call business model and use it to your advantage and do well with it. And by well with it, I mean do well by others with it, uh, because you will amass some wealth. Um, I want you to, you'll be getting a stalker next. Yeah, I know, right? Um, I see the comments are popping in now through Restream, so that's just weird how it just decided to start working. But whatever, I digress. I'll accept it. I will accept it. Um, Language is super important because it can influence the mindset, and it's also known. A lot of people, a lot of the bigger gurus and guys that are mindset geniuses actually, uh, call it self-talk, and it's the talk that you have that most people. It's more inner monologue. It's not something that is necessarily just processed out loud. One of the tricks that I found, by the way, in managing your language, which we'll talk about again in depth here a little bit, uh, is verbalizing, like out loud, some of your inner monologue, some of your inner talks, your self talk, because some of the stuff we say does not sound the same as it does inside as when we say it or try attempt to say it outside, outwardly, right? It's really weird, but in a good way because it's kind of like a think of it as like a reconciling of accounts. Like, man, I wouldn't say that out loud to myself. Why would I say that inside to my, in my inner monologue to myself? That makes sense, right? So it's really interesting how that works, and it's a nifty little not hack, but nifty little short circuit of the what your self talk is actually doing. It's left unchecked, and so verbalizing a lot of your self talk, even in private, even if there's no one else around, that's kind of the point. Just out loud. And you'll say, man, that's fucking ridiculous. Why would I say it like that? Why would I even say that to myself? That's not something I'd say to somebody on the street that I never knew, right? You wouldn't be that mean to somebody on the street, a stranger on the street. Um, th- those are those are the things that usually keep you from doing what you need to be doing in the business. And again, that kind of translates to pretty much every business and every walk of life or everything that you would attempt to do and do well. But I'll tell you straight out that specifically to this business model, if that's one of your blocks, like you're constantly dragging yourself down inside and you don't have any kind of outlet uh, or any kind of an outward expression of it to reconcile or to balance the accounts or whatever you want to say, however you want to say that from what is actually being said inside versus what's actually being said on the outside, or said outwardly rather, then you're going to be left unchecked, left to your own devices. And how's that going for you so far, right? Everything that you've ever tried is probably not failed, but done not so well or done less than you think, right? Or less than you thought it would. So that leaves us with now the great news is you're in a business model with the things that I'm teaching you and have taught you and will continue to teach you all the way through, not just the what we sell, not just who we sell to, not the fact that not only the fact that they want it and need it badly, especially now, even more so with COVID going on. Um, all those things are great. What that actually allows us to do is kind of give us a little bit of a taste of success to put the inner monologue or the self-talk, the negative self-talk on the ropes. So if you have a lot of that negative self-talk and you don't know what to do about it, I just gave you one solution. The second solution is do some stuff in this business model because there's nothing that will shut your inner negative shitty talk up faster than say proving to yourself, man, I just got two clients today. Something that a lot of people don't even think they can actually do. They see other people do it all the time and they go, well, yeah, but that's not me. I'm not them. What about me? Can I even do that? I don't think I can do that. And there's all that negative self-talk, right? Because nobody's just going to say that out loud. Very, very few people have ever told me out loud, I don't believe I can actually get that done. And even if they did, a lot of times it was when they said it, you could see on their face that it was hard for them to say that and actually believe it because they also knew there was a very strong possibility, because the mind is a funny thing, right? We see things and we think our eyes are fooling us, because sometimes our eyes do fool us. But then when you see all these results and you're like, oh shit, I gotta I gotta at least try it. And then when you try it and you accidentally have some success, I say accidentally have some success, your negative self talk immediately starts going to, well, of course it was a fucking fluke, right? That's the first thing it'll try to sell you on. And some people fall for that. Some people fall for it right away, and just because that negative self talk is comfort. That's what they know. Don't be that. Be the guy who, um, be the guy who is aware that what I'm explaining to you is going to happen. It's not an if. It's a when. And it's a choice. It's what do you choose to do about it now that you know it's going to happen when it happens? Who are you in the moment? Are you the hero, or are you the guy who cowers, right? Coward, I guess, without name calling. Are you going to be the hero? Are you going to play the hero? That's better. So I'm not name calling there, because I don't like name calling. Are you going to be the hero, or are you going to be the coward in your business, in your life, in all the choices that you make? You know, when you're confronted with that moment, and you'll know it when it hits. And in this business model, you'll get several. You'll get several moments to prove that to yourself, to your family, um, to anybody who's ever doubted you, all the haters, right? To all the haters, here's to you, right? So there's a lot that goes into that on the mindset side. Now, the self-talk is also, I've seen people. Here's what's really crazy, folks. I was just talking about this person yesterday. I didn't mention them by name, but I was thinking a lot about him because he did so well with the business model. And here's the thing: when I say so well, that I don't say that lightly. Like, he built one of the best agency sites I had seen in terms of using my template, and just nailed it, uh, and did it quickly. So he's highly intelligent. This guy I was talking about yesterday. And here's the thing, though. Every time something that needed to be done came up, like, hey, here's what I want you to go do next. Okay, great, you got that done. Here's what I want you to do next, and so on and so forth. All the way through every single step of the process, it was, I don't know if I can do that, man. That sounds hard. I don't think that's possible. This and that, or doubting, or oh, it's not as good as you saying it is. You're full. You're blowing smoke up my ass. No, no, no. Right? Everything was genuine. I was being 100% and with them, and also at the same time, the performance was, he was getting clients. He was delivering phone calls. He had everything. All he needed to do at that point was dial it in and scale, right? Dial it in and scale it, which is not that difficult, especially. But at every stage, I don't know if I can get on the phone and get clients. Now I got a client. Oh shit. Now I don't know if I can deliver phone calls to him. Now he starts delivering phone calls to him. I don't know if I can do, I don't know. I don't know. It didn't matter to him at any point on any level or anything that he had accomplished, because he had that same shit self-talk. And he's a great guy, by the way. Super great guy. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, most people don't. And that's fine, because he's an absolute sweetheart and he's a stud. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. But I'll be damned if he can't get over doubting himself about tying his fucking shoes. Right? That's kind of where he was at mentally. I don't know where he's at now. I hope he's in a better place mentally, but that's because with that mindset, you could go into anything and completely fucking fail over and over and over again and not understand why you're failing, right? So I look at that and I go, man, I don't want that for anybody, right? And I didn't want it for him. But at the end of the day, it's your choice, right? It's the choices we make. It's the choices you make. And for him, I guess maybe it was a lifetime of that kind of way of thinking, or comfortable zone of thinking, and to each their own. However, for running being an entrepreneur and running this kind of a business model, especially aggressively, because he was going at it aggressively, by the way, he did very well, 6, 7 clients, something like that, in a very short time frame. Didn't even think he could do it. Was doing thousands of dollars a client. Started delivering phone calls, and then I don't know, right? Fell off the face of the earth, as far as I know. Um, but every step of the way, again, was the whole I don't know if, I don't know, I don't think I can do it. I can't do it. All those different, pretty much the same across the board, but different ways of saying the same exact shit. And I've had guys that went even better than that and did 50 plus clients in a couple of months and then go uh, with nothing. I don't understand what's going on. It's like, well, you stop doing exactly what's working, and then immediately they fall into back into their old ways and their old patterns. This is not going to work. I don't understand. It's what do you mean this is not going to work? You've got 50 plus clients. Like, how is it not going to work? Right? What have I not steered you right on in the past? You know what I mean? In a very short time frame. So your mind is gonna you're gonna make your own choices, and your mind is gonna either run free or it's gonna work the way you ask it to work. Right? Your mind will deliver what you tell it to, but you have to tell it. And sometimes for the untrained mind, and I say, or slightly untrained mind, you might need to verbalize some of the shit that's going on in your head, right? You might even have caught me doing that from time to time where I'll say something and then, or I'll think something and then I'll say it out loud to try it on. And then you'll see me go, no, 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 right? That's me telling my mind from okay, I can't, it's not working on the inner monologue. Let me throw it out there verbally, right? Out in the world. No, that shit didn't sound good. That wasn't right. And I know what's right and I know what's wrong, and so do you. Everybody's got a great gut instinct. Use it. That's kind of my point. So anyway, when uh when you when you start doing that, it kind of becomes a habit to where you'll end up where, like me, or better even, where every once in a while something might stump you and you got to throw it out there real quick and be like, oh no, that's not it. Oh yeah, that's the one I want, right? That kind of thing. But most of the time you'll have your inner monologue in check. But it does require ongoing effort. It's never going to be something that you once you put into check, it's going to be it's just going to sit still, right? The demons inside, right? The devil inside don't know no better. He's an asshole, and he's gonna take every single opportunity at every single level of your success, of your life, of your quality of life. He's gonna take every shot at you he can take. He's like that. He's like that. You know how, I don't know if you ever had a group of friends growing up, like where you had that one guy who every time he came around, it was like three or four of you that hang out, right? And then every time that the three or four of you got together, there was always that one dude that would come up, and it's like, you know him, everybody knows him. He's not someone you hate or anything, because that's a very strong word, but it's also like, fuck, here he comes. You know the guy. Everybody has that kind of that person amongst the few people they hung out with, especially in earlier years, right? As growing up. And there's one guy in particular I'm thinking of now that I see my my best friend since middle school, way back when, and what a pain in the ass that other guy was. Not this friend, obviously, but the guy that he and I know. And it's not because of anything really necessarily in particular, other than just how his attitude and how he was with people. I swear to you, that was it. And I don't know, there's just something about that it not only obviously has an impact in the rest of the world, but internally as well. Because, if you were to follow up with people like that today, they're nowhere where they want to be. I guarantee it. And you don't want to be like that. With the time you've got left in the world, the difference you can make with even just 12 months in this business, for yourself, for your family, for others, especially in times like right now with COVID. I mean, guys, pay per call's never been better. Hell, COVID's, I mean, yeah, the drop for local business is 20 to 30%. But if you're out there in client acquisition mode, guys, this is the best business to be in. Fuck, it's one of the only few that's not considered essential, technically. I don't think it's considered essential. Should be, but we work from home anyway, right? If you're full time. I'm just saying, this is everything else is subject to not only shutdowns, but like bankruptcies, close downs, permanent shutdowns. And God help us with whoever's in office, who's not. I mean, it could get a hell of a lot worse, no matter who's in office come January. So think about that. And that's worldwide. That's not just because it's a U.S. election. That does affect everybody. Jason's name dropping. Yeah, that was the guy I was thinking of. That was the guy I was thinking of, very much so. But there's always that guy that you can tell just. And you know what's crazy is I know Jason would probably even agree with me. That guy actually, if he would apply himself and do a lot better with that self talk, uh, even if people didn't like him still as much, uh, I bet money that based on his potential, because he actually has a lot of potential, he just doesn't use it. He doesn't capitalize on it at all, to my knowledge, and it's really it's a shame. I hate seeing that, even for someone that I wasn't really that fond of growing up. You know what I mean? Like, um, even if he still had the attitude, it's just the lack of applied potential. And I think he would. I think Jason would agree. But anyway, yeah, you get the point, guys. It's very much a language thing for me. That's why no judgments on if you curse or not. That's why I could care less about if you judge me if I curse or not. Uh, I curse. So what? So fucking what? What you need to be focused on, right? And the reason why focus on whether I curse or not. Here's the point. Forget about religious beliefs for a second, and I don't mean forget them. I mean just set them aside for a second and be a human, right? That is supposed to be, according to most religions, a little more compassionate and understanding for people that don't believe or that don't think the way you think, right? So let's not be as judgy, right, to each other like that, for starters. And then when you're in that state or that mindset, I want you to evaluate uh, actions, not words, actions. Do I curse at people, right? In other words, do I curse by names or name calling? Do I call people a curse word or like an asshole or a bitch? No, I don't. And there's reasons why I don't do that. Do I say you are so fucking stupid? No, I don't do stuff like that. I never have and I never will. The reason, unless maybe I'm like it's an extreme joke and someone that's I've been very close with for years knows, right? Outside of that, you're not going to hear me say things like that. You're not going to hear me name call, because I believe that that's a form of judgment that's not only unnecessary but harmful, even for people that you'll never see again or hear from again. So I don't believe in that. And furthermore, look at the actions of what I'm teaching you, how I'm teaching you, the time I put into each one of you. How I mean, if you couldn't get better, you couldn't get better guidance from an actual business partner in this business, right? Yet I don't take any ownership in any of your businesses. You follow? You own yours 100%. It's still also your choice 100% whether you choose to follow the training or not. And I can't make you do those things. But man, do I not I don't restrict what I put into this or into you, each one of you, based on uh, how I feel or don't feel, right? Never have I ever, and never will I ever do something like that. It's important to me that you know what you're getting into, but at the same time are able to call your shots, call your own shots, make your own decisions, own your own mistakes, because we're all not nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. Um, at the same time, recognize that there is a path, and it's a very well lit and very well laid path to success in this business model. I've talked to you guys about it a million times and then some. Some of you may be hearing it for the first time, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's the same. It's the same as it now as it is as it will be, um, 6 years from now. You know what I mean? Um, more or less. The traffic sources might change a little bit, but that's about it, right? So uh, language is super important. The reason I say you shouldn't care as much about what I say, you should care about what I do more than what I say. And that goes for everybody. That goes for everybody. You should care more about what I say than what I do. All right, so I'm going to grab a Zoom link here. And if you'd like to come in live, I'm going to paste this into the comment section as per usual. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comment section as well. Or if you'd like to come in live, come on in and I will answer your questions live. So I'll answer your questions live on the Zoom, which feeds into the live stream here, of course, or in the comment section. Totally up to you folks. And I'll just kind of leave that there. There was a comment. Christina had something. Shit. Let me find it, Christina. I have been so busy. Believe it or not, a couple of my Facebook uh, pages got jacked. Believe it or not, last night, and an ad account with a ton of assets in it. Nothing that I can't replace actually with a couple hours of work, but it was a real it was a real gut punch for sure. So, oh, there's Christina. Okay, so Christina's coming in. She'll ask her question, I'm sure. I did see it somewhere though. I just didn't. I didn't have a chance to answer that yet. Christina, you there?
Oh, hi.
Hey, was I right?
Oh,
Did I see a question from you from earlier? I just don't remember where I saw it.
yeah,
What's
yeah,
up?
in the group.
Okay, what's going on?
Okay, so basically, I had a very good conversation with someone yesterday. They were very excited.
Okay, good.
Um,
You market research or
but
sales?
sales.
Okay, so
Um, but they wanted a free trial. Okay, and I know we shouldn't do that, but because of my, insecurities and so on, I was like, do you know what? Just for this person, just to try out my ads again, just because I want to feel comfortable with everything,
yeah.
I'll do it. So I've been sending them calls today, and oh my God, it's like I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but out of 7 calls they've received, 6 were shit. And I'm talking like I'm targeting certain keywords, and I don't know why Google tells me things like um, this keyword, for example, the keyword towing, was triggered by a search that this person did, and the search was AAA roadside assistance. And I'm like, I'm not targeting that keyword. And because I don't know anything about ads, I'm just wondering what the heck that is about because I don't understand why certain keywords are being triggered if I'm not targeting them.
Okay. Well, let's start with that. First off, it's not that big of a deal, and if you're not hearing me that concerned or upset about it, you should probably take it down a few notches in terms of the emotion that's behind that. I
Okay.
understand that you're not happy with initial results. That doesn't mean that this doesn't work. That's what I'm gathering from where you're at mentally.
No, I'm
That
not saying that I believe it
okay.
doesn't work. Like when you were talking about that guy that said, "I don't think I can make this work." As a that's me basically.
Yeah, I am very much aware of that, and I mean, if anybody needs further proof of that, if they had no other access to any other calls you and I had ever done, the very fact that you started the conversation today with, I know you said that you teach this, but I went and did this anyway because of my insecurities, because this is where I'm at mentally, which is not where you should have been, right?
Hmm.
That in itself tells everybody that you're very much like the same gentleman that I just mentioned. That doesn't mean there's no hope for you, by the way. It just means you
Hmm.
have to be aware and actively fight against it and not give into it.
uh,
Now, yeah, I know that's the trick, right? And by the way,
hmm.
Christina, you are not alone. If you think that because I seem larger than life, I assure you, I am human, right? I promise you I am. I make mistakes. I make big fucking mistakes. I have problems. I have self-talk issues day to day. I fight probably, I wouldn't say more than most, but more than most people I know and have talked to lately. I fight a lot, not with myself, but fight against um, the bad habits or the stinking thinking, right? The negative thinking,
Hmm.
the negative self-talk. It's an every person thing. It's just a matter of choosing to not give up on that and keep going, right? So there's that. Now, to address the actual campaign issue, what you're experiencing is what's called And Google's made a couple updates over the years, but the most recent one for this particular subject was a year and change ago, and it was based on they're taking keywords and anything that's related, and they're using their other data. Keep in mind, like they have many data points to know if somebody's in the market for a tow, right? Based on things they hear in
Hmm.
conversation, things they see you type elsewhere, all that kind of stuff. So they basically are able to say, okay, we know that somebody searching for AAA is going to be looking for towing, and so they relate the search term, which is by definition what someone actually typed in to Google or spoken to
Hmm.
their phone, right? That's what the search term is. The keyword is what we use to trigger that the ad on the search term. So AAA is very much it's a roadside service. I mean, it's one of the most, if not the most popular roadside service in all of the
Yeah.
U.S. Okay, so to not understand why towing is triggering that just because it's not an exact match tells me that you haven't looked at the optimization part of the part two guide that I have that you have access to.
I thought that needs to be done after a week of data. That was my understanding.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you review the training for it a week later, especially if you're jumping the gun. See, this is what happens when you jump the gun and do your own thing. You do your own thing, you're on your own. Like, I can't help you as much, right? You come to me now with a problem as opposed to the next step. Does that make sense?
Okay, I just understood things wrong. Sorry.
What do you mean?
I thought I could just get that started and then do, worry about the optimization later. And then,
No, no.
oh,
Optimization starts a day, 2 days after, especially with a high call volume vertical like you're in. However, you would have known that had you done a few things and had we had a few talks before you jumped the gun, right? And now you're on the hook for
okay.
a free trial. But at the end of the day, here's what I'll tell you. It's the same thing I told you last time this kind of a thing came up. If that's what you need to do, if you need to have a sales conversation so that mentally you can get over the hump and get moving, okay, cool. But all you've done, at least the last couple times, is, and I want you to recognize this and own it, because it's not me telling you this. I'm just I'm just the mirror here. I'm showing you what you probably don't want to see, which is you jumped over the hump to hit another hump. And now you're jumping over that one or trying to. And when you do that, guess what your pattern is?
Mm,
Another hump. And I'm telling you right now, if you want to succeed in this business model long term and do well even quickly out of the gate, or both, you've got to build momentum. And you're not going to do it having to get stuck in the valleys jumping over humps all the time.
okay.
It's not going to happen. And would I be correct in making the assumption that you have not completed the market research still?
I spoke to 8 people. But as I
You
said,
notice how
because of
you
my
can't you notice how you can't answer that question with a yes or a no?
well, because you said I should have spoken to 20, so I'm just
Right.
saying
But why why
8.
why can you still not answer yes or no? See what I'm you see do you understand why though?
Well, I told you about my anxieties, so
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
trying
with
to
you.
get over them.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I can hear it. At the same time though, does that mean that we get to be dishonest with ourselves? Because if you expect me to let you get away with it, I'm not going to be mean to you. But at the same time, I'll be damned if I let you lie to yourself. What kind of a person would I be then? You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, it's not, I mean, it's not okay. Either way, right? But okay, so you talk to 8 people, so that's a no.
No.
And what's the thinking here? What's the plan? What's on your mind about that?
I, I just wanted to, I don't know, just get through a couple of things just to make myself feel better.
Now, let me ask
No,
you,
I
do
think
you feel better or do you feel worse?
worse.
Okay. So,
Mm.
you, and see, here's the thing, like I'm asking you tough questions. I get that. Notice I'm seriously, I'm in a great mindset. I'm really not angry or upset. If anything, maybe a little disappointed, but not that much, to be honest, because I'll tell you straight out, Christina, listen to this. Even though you're doing some of your own thing, which obviously I don't recommend, at least getting creative till later. I don't recommend doing that initially. You've heard me say that before. But even all that considered, are you still moving forward? You might be falling on your face forward, but are you moving forward?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I know you're fighting a good fight. That's why I'm not beating the hell out of you right now, or that upset, or that disappointed, right? Um, I wouldn't even be that upset. I would just be more disappointed than anything. Right now, I'm not, though, because I know you're making progress. The thing is, I know that it's also coming at a great personal cost to you, because if you'd have to be deaf to not hear that in your voice and how you sound. You're very down. You got a lot going on, a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety. And the thing is, a lot of it, believe it or not, is self-imposed. A lot of that comes down to some of the things that we talked about today with the language and the self-talk and working with that. Um, I just want you to know I'm on your side. Same team here. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna pick at you or pick you apart, but I also expect you to own what you've done, what you haven't done. And one of the biggest challenges that most people have is getting very crystal clear um, on what it is that's going on, or what it is that they've done or haven't done. For example, if I say, "Did you work out today?" and if we were doing accountability or whatever as a fitness coach or something, and you said to me, "Well, life story, and this and that happened, and next thing you know," and I didn't ask any of that shit. Not that I don't care, but at the same time, what's my main focus if I'm your fitness coach? Am I your best friend? No, I'm not. What am I? I'm your fitness coach. Did you work out or not today? And the fact that most people, and when I say most, very, very rarely will I ever meet someone and say, "How much did you spend on ads today or this month?" and get an answer back that's a dollar amount. You know how rare that is for me to find in a student or in anyone? So I expect to hear insert whatever here. That's not what I need, by the way, in order to help you, right? So when you say things like, "Well, I spoke to 8 people," I know that you meant no. I know that you meant no. But what kind of an instructor or mentor, or actually, what kind of a friend even would I be to you if I let you not reconcile with that out loud? No, I did not do the market research the way you instructed. Okay. And now we've progressed from that point to what, well, what are you going to do about it? Either you're going to do something, you're going to catch up on that, or you're going to, well, you're telling me your mindset, where you were headed, why you were doing what you're doing, and then I ask you the question that led us there to, well, how do you actually feel, better or worse? And you're like, I feel worse. And then when you heard yourself say it, you go, oh, and not oh, but like damn, I knew I felt that way, but I didn't know I felt that way. And now we've kind of got somewhere, right, where it's decision making time again for Christina. Um, and it's not just about market research, if you notice. I've barely talked about that at all. It's more about what's going on, the 6 inches between your ears. Seriously, it's something. It really is. It can be the best of times. It can be the worst of times if you're not managing it. You know what I mean? And there are going to be days where you're managing it and shit's just not working right sometimes, but more days than not it will. And that's all you need. That's really all you need to make shit really happen really quick. And then you'll find that you actually have even more days that work well for you by actively managing that self-talk. So tell me, what's what do you think your game plan is? How can I help you from here? What are you looking at um, on campaigns and market research or anything else you got going on in the business? Anything you got else you got going on you need help with?
Um, no, honestly, I thought that the optimization I need to look at after a week. This is why I was just doing bits to just
Optimization
put.
starts technically when you start running traffic, and traffic is defined
Okay,
as impressions, clicks, and calls. You definitely want to be on that right away.
okay,
Again, with high call volume, definitely want to be on that. I mean, you've already got this person as a trial. Um, by the way, do you know why I know you know that I say it's a bad idea to take people on free trials and give away free shit. Do you know why though? I just want to clarify and make sure you understand why.
taking advantage, disappearing, things like that.
Disappearing.
Like people, taking the free calls and maybe then
No,
disappearing.
it's actually even worse than that. That's
Okay,
expected. You're going to get some of that. The numbers don't. So for every 4 or 5 people you pick up, you with a free trial, you'll probably close one and keep one, right?
okay,
Everybody else, they usually don't disappear, but they'll tell you things like, well, they're not these calls aren't as great. Even, and I understand right now with what you're going through, maybe they're not actually that great. They will be though. And my point is, when they're um, when they're coming through, they're going to be like, well, these calls aren't as great as I thought they were going to be. I didn't actually make as much money. By the way, they're doing the same shit that a lot of other people I teach do, which they're not tracking any of those numbers. They don't know. They're saying that because they have no actual value placed on, because they have nothing in the middle, nothing on the table. You gave it to them for free. So of course they're going to evaluate it as if it's a
okay.
free newspaper rag, right? Which is worthless to them, and thanks for the free business, right? So that's why we don't do free trials. I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying it's the overwhelming majority. Unless you want to go and pitch 15 people, 10 people to pull in 4 or 5 and keep one. I mean, that's twice, 2 to 3 times as bad as your numbers could be. Not even as a great closer, just starting out really. Um, Totally up to you, right? Your choice. If this is what you did to get started, again, that's that whole justification of, well, this is just so I could get over the hump, only so that I could have the next hump to get over. And you're not really moving. You're just like rolling over a hump. It's and the thing is, like, I get it. I tried to explain this to you before, not saying I told you so. More importantly, and I hate I told you so, because it doesn't do anybody any good. Not even the person saying it. I tried to bring it up to you before because I saw it coming. And that's what I want you to latch onto, is that there's nowhere you can go in this model that I don't know intimately and what it brings, including the feelings that come along with it, the money that comes along with it or not, the clients, the problems, the success, all of it. There's nowhere you can go in this model that I don't know intimately.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do my things because William is talking bullshit. I
I
believe
get
that
that. I
you
get
you
that.
do. It's just I don't know. I guess I
Well,
need to sort my brain out before I
well,
can go ahead with this.
let me ask you. Do you, and again, no judgments or anything, but are you a person of faith?
No.
You're not. Okay. Um, this is going to be a little more difficult. Beliefs are interesting, right? Because you say, "Hey, I don't think William's full of shit." Well, that's good. That's a nice compliment. Appreciate that. Uh, However, you also don't, on the other side of that, what's unspoken but still thought is, I don't believe in William enough to to at least follow what he's asking me to do over my own beliefs, over what I think is right. In other words, your self-sabotage kicks in and says it knows better than William in this model.
Mm,
And you're not calling yourself on it saying, well, that's bullshit, because I know William knows the business better than my my self sabotage, because my self sabotage has never gotten a fucking client in pay per call, has never run offers in pay per call, has never run campaigns in pay per call, right? Um, so for now, I would say you're right. Take a break. work on the mindset, but not like a super long break or something. It's not spring break or anything. It's not a Christmas break or a holiday break yet. What I would do is take the day if I were you, right? Study, because you can always have progress, and you're good at that, by the way. I told you that, and I mean that. Um, and you heard how much I love the other guy, that you're a lot alike, right? So now you know how I feel about you, right? Like you've
Mm.
got what it takes, and so does the other guy. Uh, you've got more than what it takes. I just don't want to see you fall victim to your old habits. It's not the business model. It's not even necessarily the steps and order of which you've done certain things. It's
I know
the
it's my brain.
it's the brain. Yeah, and see that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Well, the good
I know, I'm aware.
that's
I
well
was thinking,
okay, but there's progress, right? Because
mm,
originally you probably came into this program thinking this is going to be the answer, right? And not that it's not. I'm saying what's really the answer.
you're right.
No, not that I'm right. That's not the answer. What's right for
Well,
everybody else
yeah,
listening? For everybody else listening, help everybody else out. What's going on? And what's the answer?
I need to stop self-sabotaging
Yeah,
myself.
it's the
Just
mindset.
follow things as they are and believe.
Christina, there's not
Yeah.
there's not a thing that you would do in business or a business that you could start that I don't believe you could succeed with. And I mean that. You've got to
Mm.
work on the mindset. You really do. You've got a lot of potential, a lot of love, big heart. I know you mean well. I know you're going to do well. Hell, you set up a campaign and it's running. Do you know how difficult most people find that, Christina? Like
Okay.
you get special acknowledgement for that. Didn't I just say earlier? And maybe it went understated. So let me make sure to properly state it again, or give it its due in your credit. You are still progressing. It may not necessarily be what you know to be um, what you need to be doing, but you're still progressing in all the areas, not just one or two, right? You're progressing in something, not just nothing. Whereas most people, they say, I don't even want to take a chance on selecting a vertical yet. I'm serious. I'm laughing,
Okay.
but I'm serious. And I know you
Okay.
know that feeling too, but here's the thing, you got through that one. So you are busting through some of these things. Just here on the last couple, it feels like you're just rolling over the hump as opposed to, you know what I mean, busting
Yeah,
through.
yeah. I
That's all.
think the first week I was like, whoa, really going through things fast. And then when
Yeah,
it comes to like
you
having
were.
to relate with other people and things like that, it just becomes really difficult. So I either find a job where I just sit in a cave, if there is one that exists.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I need to take a little break and really get over my shit.
You know,
I curse.
yeah, good. Me too. It's not about the people is okay. Let me kind of point this out. Do you believe that there are good people in the world? Let's start with belief. Do you
Yeah, I
believe that
believe so.
do you believe they're in the majority or minority?
Minority.
Really?
Hmm.
Do you know that was me for a long, long, long time?
Okay.
Why do you think minority? Not trying to change how you think either, but I'm just curious. Why do you think minority? I bet it's the same reasons why I thought.
Hmm. I guess because we've been hurt a lot.
There's a movie. I'm a movie buff, right? Talk about that all the time. There's a movie called Rounders. Are you familiar with it? Edward Norton, Matt Damon, like '98. It's about the
No.
Texas Hold'em card game. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
Anyway, Matt Damon's character is thinking about getting back into gambling because he got out after he got burned real bad. He was a good card, not counter, but because it's Texas Hold'em, but he was a good Texas Hold'em player, and he promised his girlfriend he wouldn't get back into it and all that, and so he's sitting in a car and he's thinking about going back to the game that he just left and did not participate in yet, right? And he says he was quoting from Doyle Brunson in the movie, which is a famous World Series of Poker, actual World Series of Poker player, multiple bracelet winner. meaning he's won the World Series of Poker bracelet a few times, at least twice, I think, to if memory serves, maybe three times or more. He's he was quoted as saying, Doyle Brunson was quoted as saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, few players can ever remember winning their biggest pot, but every one of them remembers their biggest loss or biggest losses, right?
Yep.
And so when you look at the world as when you look at people, are there bad people out there? Yeah, of course they are. Of course there are. Are they in the majority? I don't believe so. I believe everything that we're trained to focus on and our mind instinctively focuses on in order to survive, for survival purposes. Our mind immediately looks for the danger, for the negative, for the bad, to stay away from it. So then we tell ourselves as a generalization, and this is not just you, this is like practically everybody. Most people in the world are bad.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's and again, if that were the case, then why aren't most people convicted felons then, or at least
True.
you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, so now you're like, oh, most people are tax-paying citizens. I mean,
Hmm.
that don't really cause trouble, that just want their 9 to 5 and their family. You know what I mean? Now, again, that's not to say or understate or undervalue the serious threat of like some real a-holes out there that, and I will call those guys names because they're a threat to society. They're murderers, rapists, um, you know, pedophiles, even just bad things, bad people that, hey, just not good for the world. But they're not in the majority. There's no way. There's no way they're the majority. But man, what a difference just a few bad eggs, right? A few bad apples can make for the whole bushel, right? Hell, one bad apple, what does it do to the bushel, right? That's what that's kind of the effect that we experience, but then we don't really evaluate that or stop and think. And like I said, for many years I thought that way. For many years I thought that way, and I was very grateful for the friends that I had because of it. Not that I'm not now. I'm just saying it made me probably back then even more grateful for the few friends that I had because I could count them on one hand. But I knew that they were, they at 2 a.m. and if I called, they'd pick up, and I'd do the same for them, like that kind of friend, like a real friend, and it it made a difference to me in terms of understand. Okay, so if I thought that most people were bad, what's my motivation for helping people then, right?
Mm.
See where I'm coming from? I'm not saying you have to change your mind or anything. I'm just kind of offering you a different perspective on how I look at things, and I totally get where you're coming from. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Didn't like it too much either because man, I was a cynical SOB, just always thinking, you know, there's more bad people than good out there. What I do say is people with bigger hearts like you tend to find themselves the victim because blood attracts sharks. Blood in the water attracts sharks, Christina. You know, big-hearted people attract other people that take advantage. And so people like you, people like me, we have to keep our guard up and actually protect against things. But that doesn't mean block everybody out by saying most of the world is just full of bad people. That's what we that's what I originally did to block out. That's what it sounds like you might be doing as well. Just as a heads up. And you're blocking yourself off, by the way, from fantastic people in your life that I am so grateful for. Um, Not even just my friends. My friends, I'm still very much grateful for, but many people beyond that, including everybody here on this call, including you. I wouldn't have met you if I had that mindset still. You follow? Like that's I'm just saying, to me, I'm grateful for that. And
Yeah. I hope I don't sound like someone
no, you
who
don't.
like a cat lady with like 20 cats all by myself. I
You
do have
don't. You don't
friends.
sound like the crazy cat lady. You don't sound like a crazy cat lady. Let me clarify. But it does sound like probably most other people feel. right? So don't think I'm singling you out by any means, Christina. And that's
No, no,
also
no, of
why
course.
I shared that I felt that way for many years. Like, I don't want anybody to be under any illusions that I'm some kind of super enlightened being, right? I've just figured some shit out. That's all. I'm just trying to help some other people figure the same shit out. That's it. That's it. You're not a crazy cat lady, and anybody else out there that's thinking they're crazy cat lady, no, you're not crazy cat lady for thinking the way that we're instinctively designed to think. Think when I say instinctive, I mean instinctive. We shy away from negative things, loud noises, all because we're it's built into our survival, right? It's just instincts, 100%. However, given today's like rapid advancement of technology, of making the world actually a much smaller place because of the communications we now have, the advanced communications we have, what's to come even more than what we already have. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how we actually catch up because we are behind in terms of adapting to any of this stuff. It's going to be a couple generations at least before we really adapt to the stuff we have today, let alone the fact of the pace of what we keep developing. My God. So to watch us as a society catch up to these things, it's going to be interesting. But I can tell you this: people are inherently good. They mean well, most of them, even if they're having a bad day. Remember how I told you, hey, the first thing, and you've probably heard me say this a couple times, the first thing out of my mouth if somebody writes me an email that says fuck off and die, I don't get those every day, by the way. I get them every once in a while. And when I get one, it's like, man, are you okay? It's not a, well, fuck you too, buddy. that used to be, that used to be my answer. That used to be my initial thought. My initial thought now is, man, I hope he's okay, right? If I
Mm.
get snubbed or if somebody's, you know, I reach out to somebody and they don't reach back, I just get more concerned. I don't get angry. I just get worried, if anything, especially if I care about a person or know them very well, or it's not normal for them, that kind of thing. I'm I ask. I actually ask in an email after somebody writes something like "fuck off and die," which could be considered a threat. By the way, most people would consider that a threat. That's why they react the way initially I told you. But I say they're just, what are they going through? They must be going through fucking hell right now. Is there anything I can do? Well, let's find out. Are you okay? Are you all right? Right? And not one of those sarcastic, you okay, bro? No, I'm not. I mean, hey, is everything all right? Right? Like, when you say it like that, there's no way to misconstrue that. That's not me being a smartass. That's me actually asking, even in an email with no context. If I write, "Hey, is everything all right?" question mark, you know that I'm actually asking you if everything's okay, that I actually care, and most of the time, most people don't respond. But one time, I can remember a person responded, and they actually told me the shit they were going through, and I won't say there was a happy ending at the end, but we came to an understanding, and I gave them some perspective to help. Um, and I can only hope that person is doing better because of it. But at least at least it wasn't a completely negative interaction. It was turned back to at least a neutral. You know what I mean? Where I was actually apologized to. Sorry, I don't usually say stuff like that. Just going through this hard time dealing with this and that. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. I've dealt with this before, but I haven't dealt with that before. So I can only imagine what you're going through. Is there anything I can help you with? Or, uh, I mean, are you going to be okay? You know, that whole thing. And they said, well, this is what I'm thinking. The point is, we all have things that we go through, right? And at any given time, any one of us about any different number of issues could be considered an asshole by somebody else, or considered to be not having a good day by somebody else, or a not nice person, right? Uh, with exception to maybe New Yorkers. I'm kidding, of course. Most New Yorkers, and by New Yorkers I mean New York City, okay, specifically. But again, why, you have to ask yourself, why is that? Because they're all living on top of each other. There's a lot of miserable conditions there pre-COVID even, that that make people act the way they act. There's high crime. I mean, shit, if you were living in practically a war zone with 8 million people on top of each other, you'd probably be not as happy all the time either, right? You're like, so, so you have to look at it from their perspective and see what they see. And that's not easy till you get on the ground or until you get into whatever it is you're doing. Same concept applies to the business, right? To bring us back to where we're at. Um, Got to work on the self talk, see things from other people's perspective, and understand that there are people out there in the world that are ready to do business with you, Christina, that are not just good clients, but great clients. They're waiting for someone like you. They've hell, if they believe or if they're religious, they've prayed for someone like you, and I'm not even joking. They they're ready, and it's on you. No pressure, because they'll still be there when you're ready. No matter when that is, today, next week, doesn't matter, right? Obviously, we'd like to see you do it sooner, and I know you've got a team of people rooting you on in the Ring Ads group. I know I am. I'm rooting for you. Um, there's some things that I would highly recommend you do. Like I said, take the day, study the optimization, and start digging on that. If you want to do a screen share tomorrow, uh, I'm game. I'm down for that, right? I will definitely do that with you. And then, so we do that. We get your campaign stuff moving more in the right direction of delivering the phone calls that your client wants, because your client's not going to be able to take AAA calls. Uh, but that's actually a lot of that's easy. The optimization stuff, AAA, we've had those conversations about the motor clubs, the um, the the fleet services, AAA's, Good Sam's of the world. You've got to put those in the negative keywords immediately, right? That's going to clean
Yeah,
up.
I did that. I did
Okay.
that today when I saw it was like, I
Now,
think this is what I
have you
have to
done
do.
it? Now, have you done it at the levels? See, that's the conversations we should be having about the campaigns. However, while you take the day and do that, you really should take some time and figure out what I'm giving you perspective wise on people. Again, not trying to change your mind on how you on your outlook of the world, right? But even if most of the look, even if you still maintain most of the people in the world are not good people, there are still people to do business with that will treat you well, even if you don't like them, even if they're not good people. You're just now at that point then specifically looking for the ethical ones.
Mm.
Like maybe they're not good as in they have an attitude problem, but they're not going to screw you over, right? Which usually isn't the case, by the way. And the most times when you catch people that have an attitude, there's somebody in the world that they don't have an attitude with. I guarantee it. You follow?
Yeah.
So they're either going through something or they just don't like you. One of the two. But most of it, how do they not like you if they don't even know you yet? So that ain't it, right? They don't even know you
True.
well enough to not like you. So it's definitely them going through their own shit. And it's not as if you're using it to justify, you're using it as a way to tell the trigger in your mind, because that usually triggers stuff for people like you and I, right? And others that are listening that are like us, um, where it's like, oh man, this guy's gonna run all over me. He's going to. I would even guarantee that earlier you thought I was going to jump all over your ass.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: why? More importantly, and I didn't, but why? Why did you think that?
Well, if I'm honest,
Yeah, I don't want you to
you
be
sort of
dishonest.
you you sort of, it felt like you did that like last week, a few days after I specified I'm
Yeah,
sensitive, I
right,
specified that I've had these issues, that
right.
issues, and you toasted me in front of everyone. So I thought, here we go again. Like
Now, Christina,
I've already said that I'm just gonna cry if someone talks to me like this, and
I'm
he's
glad.
doing it
I'm
again.
glad you addressed it. Thank you for addressing it.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to bring it up. I was wondering if you were ever going to bring it up. And the
Mm,
reason I waited for you to bring it up is because if I brought it up, it sounds like I'm manufacturing it or imagining. Maybe I was imagining something that you didn't actually feel, but I could see that it affected you. And the words you just used to describe that interaction was that I toasted you, right? and that
Yeah.
you told me you were sensitive. Okay, so here's what you need to understand about me. If I toast you, there will be no question that I have toasted you. I have a side to me that you don't want to know, that no one wants to know, and very, very few people on this earth have ever seen, because I reserve it for the bad people. And there are, as in my mind, there are very few of those people. So if I ever toasted you, you'd be the first to know it. And I tell you right now, you weren't toasted. Now, you having felt toasted, that's a different matter. I can't make you feel or not feel how you feel. You feel how you feel. I can't. I don't have a say on that. So you felt toasted might be more accurate to say, to start with. You can't just say I toasted you, because I know I didn't. And you and I could argue that point till the cows come home. I made you feel toasted, or you felt toasted by what I had said to you. I can accept that. Uh, Now, what made you feel that way, I can tell you, is not that I was attacking you. It's that I was showing you what your business demands of you, not me. I'm here to help you. I'm same team, Christina, same team. That doesn't mean that your teammates aren't gonna beat you up, but they're also gonna like look for you to show up to practice and kick the fucking ball from time to time. You know what I'm saying? And when you don't show up for practice, they're not necessarily going to dislike you at first or hate you even. They're also not going to necessarily toast you, right? I love that word. It was a great word you used. Um, but they're also not going to be your best buddy, and also not hold you accountable to the fact that you haven't put in the hours yet, or you haven't done this, or you haven't done that. And if anything, I was being as objective as possible, showing you that, hey, your business is requiring this of you. Whether you take 2 weeks to get it done, 2 years to get it done, right? Whether you take 2 hours to get it done, the business requires this of you. This is a cost of the business if you expect to pull decent results, keep the momentum going. This is what's required of you. Not because I said so, but because history and experience says so. It demands a price of entry. So understand, please. Uh, if I were to ever toast anyone, they would know it, and that wasn't it. I promise you. Um, I would also say to anyone else listening that that would probably be a good call. When was that last week? Was that
I
like
think it was
Friday?
the first day of
That's
the
right. It was
December
Monday.
dash.
It was Monday. So that was a week and a day ago, right? So Monday, December 1st. That's a great session to go back and listen to, where I'm holding you accountable, as opposed to, if you go back and listen to that, you're going to hear what I just described and be like, oh, you know what? After this conversation we just had, you're going to go back and listen to that and go, fuck, he's right. Because if he was really laying into me, he could have said this, he could have said that. He pulled all these punches, and then what happened from today's call, right? You'd be like, this is the result, because of what he was warning me about then, what he was holding me accountable to back then. And notice, I didn't even I could have said things like, you are going to fail if you don't do this. I didn't even use things that strongly worded. So when you say, hey, I told you I was sensitive, that implies that maybe I wasn't being not aware of it. Maybe I wasn't honoring the fact that you were sensitive. I'll tell you right now, every conversation we have, I'm fully aware of that, and work with that to our advantage, not to our disadvantage. So I want you to go back and listen to that call and hear what I heard, which is, you weren't paying the price yet, and then evaluate that the business demands. I'm explaining that to you, telling you what's going to happen if it doesn't get paid, and what your options are, and some possible solutions to maybe pay it in installments, right? That kind of a thing, but start paying on it, right? Um, or layaway, whatever you want to call it, right? That kind of thing. And then now evaluate where you're at today and the challenges that you're going through today, and recognize that some of them are just challenges that are going to happen no matter what. Like, for example, the optimization. Big deal. That's a small thing. Feels big to you, and right away the first thing I told you was what? Not that big a deal. Not because I'm trying to downplay it. I'm just telling you straight out, like, to be expected. I just helped you manage your expectations on that, told you where to find the answers, right? And what to do about it. And I said, hey, let's jump on a call tomorrow, or the call tomorrow, and work through it after you've gotten your feet under you with it. That's why I said take the day and look at that specifically so that tomorrow our call is going to be even more productive. At the same time, though, the mindset's is a big thing because your your sensitivity is not being ignored. It's not being uh, downplayed. It's very much at the forefront of my mind. At the same time, I'm always going to, I'm okay. In earlier in this conversation, you thought I was going to do it again because of the way I sounded when I asked you a yes or a no question. Now, if you were to ask me a yes or a no question and you didn't get a yes or a no after asking it two or three times or knowing that the answer is still not been answered, given yet, how would you react?
Yeah, okay, I guess I'll lose my patience at some point.
You'll lose your patience at some point, and that's a nice British way of saying what?
Pissed off.
Yeah, you'd get fucking pissed. That's how I would describe it. Now, and again, I'm working with you, right? I'm helping you. I'm on your same team, business partner without any ownership interest, right? Like, so do business partners get pissed at each other from time to time? I would imagine they do. Yeah. I've experienced it before. Yeah. To the point where, and over something that simple, no. But I still do expect an answer, right? And so I'm not going to just let you float on something, especially when I know that you know the answer and you're trying to avoid it, or maybe not even consciously trying to avoid it, but you did avoid it. Whether conscious or not, you did avoid that answer and giving it to me, which is why when I say, hey, someone says, hey, I got campaign problems. Okay, I'm here to help you with that. What was your ad spend? How many calls did you drive? This and that. And they, well, you see, uh, story, fucking story, fucking story. And nobody wants to hear that. Maybe later, right? But I don't need to hear that right now. Sorry, I got somebody at the door. I'll have to let that go. I'll deal with that in a minute. Anyway, story, right? That's where I was at. So story, and then it's what? No answer. It's not accurate. It's not an accurate answer. And if I don't get an accurate answer, how can I help them? I can't. What am I supposed to say? That was a great story. You know what I mean? Or that's interesting. That doesn't work, right? It doesn't. None of that works. So um, that's why I ask for the answers, and I'll wait, and I'll ask again, and I'll ask again. Now, at some point, yeah, after asking several times, I might have to point out the fact that someone's not answering the question. With you, I chose to do it right away because I know why you were doing it. And it's not because you were worried as much as if I was going to rip your head off. You knew I wasn't going to rip your head off. You thought you might get toasted, but you thought you might, the reason why you thought you might get toasted by me, right, or feel toasted rather, is because you know it wasn't in alignment with what I taught. And you also know that that deep down is driving the results that you're currently seeing right now. Does that make sense?
I guess. Yeah.
I guess, or think about it.
you,
Think about it. Take your
no,
time.
no,
Think about it.
no,
Take your
I
time.
understand.
No, I know you
Yeah.
understand, but think about it. Take your time. I'm not asking for you to agree with me. I just want you to really, without any hesitation, understand what I'm getting at, which is it's not about whether I'm toasting you or not, or feeling making you feel toasted, more than it is about making sure we're speaking the same language. So when I say, "Hey, what's two plus two?" as if I didn't know that, and you would say, "Well, see, the thing is, I got to do the." No, no, give me the answer, right? Because once I have the answer for, then I can say to you, uh, okay, four, and then give you the breakdown of the number four, right? Give me 1 second, guys. let me go see what's going on, and I'll be right back. I'm going to take a quick, like, 30-second, 60-second break, but I'm coming right back. Okay. Okay. Hello.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. You're like, okay. Okay. All right.
Beside the track.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
okay. Now everybody should be able to hear me. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Had a package that was dropped in the wrong place. Had to deal with that. Oh, got some supplements and stuff in. So if Andy's on, I got my iodine in today. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss that. Um, let's see. Anything else, Christina, that I can help you with? But I think you've got it. But is there anything else? Just want to make sure.
No, no,
Okay.
all good, thank you.
So study up, take some time with the mind stuff. I say mind stuff like it's unimportant. Take some serious time with the mindset. You know I'm here for you. Seriously, go back and evaluate that call because it was a good call. There was a lot of good stuff that was covered that I gave you. I gave you everything that I would have given you if we were business partners, like actual interest, ownership interest. I always do that, but really on that call, I felt like I gave you everything you needed and then some. Um, Go back and listen to it. I know I have actually that part because it was a concern. I was like, man, I felt how she reacted to that, and I was like, is she gonna do what she needs to do, or is she going to take that as a I punched her in the nose, right? And The thing is I never said anything harsh language wise to actually punch you in the nose, but I knew that you might feel that way. It was very clear to me. Like I remember that conversation very well, and I was waiting on you to address it. Not to be, not to be the guy who, you know, waits on you to bring up the issues. However, I also know that given the state you're in and all the shit you're going through physically, mentally, with the business, with your head, I needed you to be the one to bring it up on in that case because now you're ready to say, well, he didn't get at me that time, uh, and now I see what he was saying on the results side. So let me go back and listen to that and say, oh, I see what he was saying now and why he was strongly warning me against doing some of that stuff because here's where I'm at today. Got it. And then work on what you're going to do for tomorrow so that we can
Yeah,
get on and
I knew at the end of the day, I knew you come from a place of love and all of that, and that's why I came back. Otherwise, if I had let the negative side of me, thinking, oh, he hates me, because I know you
right,
don't, but
right,
my mind, then I wouldn't have come back.
right.
But
Well, it's I get it.
so
It's
I
a
knew you meant
challenge.
well.
It's a well,
Yeah, I knew you
meaning
meant well.
well. That's the thing. You say that and it makes it sound like I'm the abusive husband. I love you, bitch. Slapping people around. That's not how it goes, right? It's not okay. So no,
Yeah.
it's very much not okay to be left like that. However, you have to be held in a business where there are certain mile markers to hit, whether you do it in payment plans or not, right? Uh, Obviously, you don't have to, but if you do, then there's going to be some kind of not accountability because I'm not your accountability partner either. Like if I give you some instructions or if you know what to do, then um, I leave it to you. You're what I call a grown ass woman. You're a grown ass person. You make your own decisions, right? And ultimately, it's up to you. Now, what those decisions yield as a result is what we're left with to deal with or to clean up or to fix or to work with, right? In a lot of cases. And you haven't made a complete mess or anything. You're at that point where, a little bit of milk is spilled on the floor, but you're about to lose the whole damn glass if you keep going mindset wise the way you're going. That's all. That's all. Uh, so not a huge deal yet, but it definitely has that potential to go that direction, as I described earlier with the other gentleman that you and I are similar to in that way. So keep keep an eye on that. Keep your head on your shoulders about that. I appreciate that my heart's in the right place. That is a good compliment. I appreciate the compliments today, but at the same time, it's more important for me that whether you love me or hate me, that you know that on the business side, I'm not ever going to attack you or say, well, why did you do that? Or why didn't you, you know, it's going to be more of a, hey, uh, you know that, okay, well, and so I'm going to point things out. I'm not going to just leave them unsaid because that doesn't do you any favors. Like you did 8 calls out of 20, right?
Yeah.
You know that's not in alignment. Everybody knows that. You feel bad about it, so you avoid it. Who loses?
Me. I know.
Not if I can help it. Now you know where I'm coming from. That's
Mm,
that's what a friend does.
okay.
It's kind of like, do I have something? It's like if I had something in my teeth, would you be the friend to tell me, or would you be the friend to put it on
I
fucking
would tell you.
Instagram? Right. You
I
see,
would tell.
yeah, you see what I'm getting at though, right? And maybe you'd be the friend to tell me after you put it on Instagram. That's my favorite kind of friend, right? Where it's like they meant well, but at the same time they got or maybe not Instagram, but they got a private picture of it and they didn't post it. They used it as blackmail. That's my favorite. That's the camaraderie that I'm used to though. That's just the horsing
Oh,
around. But the point remains, like you want somebody that's going to tell you your pants are on backwards, or that you got the wrong color socks, you mismatched socks, or that you know what I mean? And
yeah.
and and it's how a friend tells you. If a friend tells you like, "Ha, you got on two different socks or whatever," that's not no. I'm talking about the guy who's like, or gal who's like, psst, psst, hey, uh, you got a sec? Yeah, come on, come over here. Pretend like I'm telling you something funny. Yeah, yeah. You got on wrong color socks there, bro. You know what I mean? Like someone that's taking you to the side, treating you like you would a friend, and that's kind of the point I'm driving at. I'm not gonna. Yeah, we're on a live stream. I get that, and so everybody and their brother is listening to this. At the same time, though, you're not getting any direction that I wouldn't give you on a private phone call. Matter of fact, there's people that can attest to that, like Andy. Um, same thing. Like he had an issue with the Ethernet. We thought it was Ethernet. It probably is the internet signal, but that's an internet company thing. I gave him the possible solutions and things to try. Um, Art gave him the Mighty Call option, which tended to work well for him, by the way. Um, and he got it solved. You know, there were some challenges there, but at the same time, uh, I handled it very much the same. I'm the same person. This isn't a face. This isn't a mask. This is exactly who I am, and that's why one of the reasons why I curse, because I do in my personal life. And whether you love me or hate me or not, should have no bearing whatsoever uh, on what you do with the information that's been given to you. That's it.
Okay.
Because I have trained people. You know, I brought this up yesterday because it's coming more to people's attention. Um, some of the people I've trained have gone on to teach what I trained them on. Maybe not very well, but they have gone on to train others from their own success. And if you think about it, and there's actually, I just talked to a student yesterday that is doing better than that guy, even the one I'm thinking of. So that's, I mean, there are students that don't teach that do even better, and will continue to do better. And I'm very proud of all of them, actually, even if, and the difference is one guy still talks to me and one guy doesn't. And I could give a shit. Like I love the guy that talks to me still for sure because he's a good guy. The other guy, I'm not so sure about. You know, I've seen him lie a lot lately in interviews and things like that. It's going to have to be addressed and called out to protect other people. But outside of that, I could care less if he likes me or not. He knows where he learned it from, and what does he choose to do with it? What is he? How is he helping others? And that's the. And I don't mean helping others learn the business. That's fine. I'm talking about helping others in society. Like, what is he doing with that? And that's my forget it. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying the question is there because there is no answer, right? Or the answer is unfavorable for sure. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal, right? Where the answer is not is either unknown, undecided, or unfavorable. That would be bad. Um, to make to acquire wealth and to do nothing is the equivalent of just like all that's needed for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing, right? That's the same concept. All that's required to for evil to prevail is for you to acquire wealth and do nothing with it, right? Nothing positive with it. So use purpose to drive your actions, bigger purpose. I find it's helped me out tremendously. Um, you guys are part of that, absolutely, in teaching you how to do what I do. At the same time, uh, there's even higher, there's an even higher calling than what I'm doing here with you. That doesn't mean I'm going to be moving on, by the way. It just means there's other things I got on my to-do list, right? Shit to-do list. So it's going to get done, and that's what drives me, right? You guys are part of that, though, very much so, or I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't care half as much as I do. So that all said, that's some stuff to kick around mentally with the other stuff I talked about that might help you kick that stuff around, I guess. Um, and study the optimization. We'll take a look at your campaigns. We'll go through it fine tooth comb. But when you're up to speed on optimization and how that's going to work, it's going to make a hell of a lot more sense. And before the end of the week, you're going to have a serious well, you're already driving a ton of phone calls, which that's the first hurdle, right? In terms of a campaign. Now we've got to dial in the quality, right? Which is actually for your vertical is actually very simple. It's very, very simple. It's
Okay.
going to require some time, not a ton, but like you're going to have to put in maybe a couple hours of effort on the negatives and on the keyword research that I give you. But outside of that, it's going to be very straightforward. You're going to enjoy it. Um, that's that whole person in a cave thing. So that's going to be easy for you. No problem, right? Christina the cave girl, right? Because Christina
Yep.
the cave girl. So I'm gonna have to get a shirt made up, Christina Cave Girl, something like that. Anyway, uh, the that's great. Now we just gotta have you evaluate and come back to me, sleep on it with the whole mindset and everything I gave you to kick around on that because there's quite a few things. I get that. At the same time, though, you're gonna go stew on that and come back to me. And like any good stew, it's always better the day after than it was the day of, right? So because it's had time to congeal and marinate, whatever. So do your thinking, and let's reconnect tomorrow for your next toasting at 11 a.m. I'm kidding you, but see that's the thing. Like you gotta make fun. You gotta have jokes because if you don't, then it's not lighthearted enough. At the same time, though, when it's business time, you know the deal. Eight out of 20 is not 20. You know what's left to pay in terms of the price. By the way, how did those 8 calls go?
Well, a couple of them didn't want to talk to me, even though
Okay,
I said uh, I'm not trying to sell
that's
anything.
okay. What did they say?
Um,
This is a good indicator of some things. What did they say? They didn't say, I don't want to talk to you. What did they say?
I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. Okay. What does that tell
Okay.
you, by the way? How
Did
do
I
they
sound maybe
how do they know
salesy?
exactly it's possible or they said
Yeah.
or they think, man, this person really does not know their shit enough to be on the phone with me. I need to go.
Okay.
That doesn't that's don't take that as a personal attack or as a negative. Just be aware that someone instantly evaluated you in either how you sounded or what you said or both within the first few seconds and said, "Yep, not talking to you, buddy," or "I don't have the time," is what they really
Mm.
mean. But they heard sales, they think sales because of
You know,
something or how you're saying, right?
I know you said that American people like the British accent and all,
Oh
but
yes, they do.
sometimes I feel like, especially with these kind of verticals, where they're like, the tough guy kind of thing, and they hear me like, "Hey, good morning, oh, sir, how are you?" Oh, okay, I don't talk like that, but very
I was
polite
about
and
to
like,
say, is that how
no,
you
no, no,
answer your market
I,
research
I,
calls?
I'm not Mary Poppins, don't worry.
Okay.
But yeah, no, what I'm trying to say is maybe they hear this polite voice and they associate it to a sales call. I don't know.
Well, let me tell you, if
I
and
need to speak American.
I'm kind well,
Yo, man.
you can if you want, I guess, but yo, man, yeah. I'll tell you this: they appreciate directness. Forget about the accent's great, right? The accent's always going to do well. But what does better than the accent and actually helps the accent is being direct. Meaning, you come at them with, here's the deal. And I don't mean Joe Biden, here's the deal, and wait 3 seconds before you actually think of what today's date is, right? Like that kind of absent minded shit. I mean, here's the deal. I got calls coming, no rest. Here's the deal. I got calls coming in every day. People looking for a tow, roadside assistance, they're coming in every day. They need help right now. Do you need more business right now? But when you say it with a little authority, not like you're when I say authority, most people think I mean like the Third Reich or some shit. No, I'm not saying you got to be, Hitler. I'm saying be authoritative, as in you've got phone calls, and you do, that need to go somewhere. They're coming every day. They got to go somewhere right now. And so your urgency is, do you need more business right now? And if they answer yes, then you great. Couple quick questions for you. Now, anybody of any accent can say it like that and say it in that way and not have to sound American. You do not have to sound American. You have to sound like you have something. It's kind of like we're at the poker table, Christine. You ever play poker?
No.
Okay. You ever seen poker being played?
Not really. No,
No?
no.
Okay. Well, go watch like a YouTube is a godsend. Um, Go watch like a couple World Series of poker games and watch some of the like absolutely famous poker players, Doyle Brunson, whatever. They have what's called a poker face. You've probably heard that maybe because
Yep.
it was made famous by Lady Gaga in her song, right?
Yep.
Poker face, right? Okay, so sorry, had to go there. The whole poker face thing comes from where? What does it mean? Like if somebody says you have a poker face,
A straight face, no emotion.
no emotion, no reaction, good or bad, right? So why did the poker face come to be? How did it come to be?
How? I don't know, but I guess so they don't give out like clues of what kind of cards you have.
Right, good or bad. But most of the time, people give signals that it's for what? If they
When you
don't
have
have a
bad
good
stuff,
poker face,
bad cards. Yeah.
mm, sometimes, more
Mm.
times than not, they can't hold the excitement in when they get the good
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Right? So
Okay.
it's like who's got the good shit, who's got the bad shit. The bad shit only comes out when the betting gets higher, and then it's like you can see the nervous ticks kick in, right? Kind of like that they're lying from a polygraph machine, that kind of nervous tick, whatever that is. It could be shaking a leg for somebody. Like you'll notice I'm on a call and I'm doing it right now. My leg is kicking, and so if I'm sitting still, it looks like my head's nodding. I'm not. It's me doing my leg thing, and it's not a nervous tick necessarily, more than it is a man, I wish I was up and moving and walking. That's my version of walking while I'm sitting down. It's weird. But here's my point with Poker Face. It came to be because people couldn't hide their excitement. So you need to be the person that has a very poor poker face over the phone. You are holding four aces and you're going to share the winnings of the pot of what's in the pot. In other words, all the chips and the money in the pot that you're about to win with these four aces. And that's what you have to convey across the phone. Does that make sense? Like I have
Yeah.
the winning hand and I'm not an asshole, so I'm going to share it with you and we're going to win this together. But you've got to put in $5 and you got to put $5 into the pot. I've already put
Okay.
1,000 in, but you got to put five in. Are you with me on this? Right? If there was a mindset to encapsulate exactly what our business model is, that would be it in terms of the sales side of what we do. You don't have to be a great salesperson. You just have to be a shitty poker face. I've got
Okay.
the, if you notice sometimes when I'm excited and I can't contain it, right?
Mhm.
And you're like, man, what's got him so fired up today, right? Today's probably not one of those days. I'm not saying I'm not fired up. I actually am because I'm helping, but at the same time, I had a 4.5 hour session yesterday. After an hour session yesterday, my Facebook pages were stolen. I had an ad account stolen. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a real gut punch. There were a lot of great things that happened too yesterday, like way more great things than bad. And so the bad stuff is actually minimal, unimportant, not a big deal. Couple hours of work, big deal, right? That's not of work that I know how to do and can do well. Easy, no problem. Um, but for today's energy, it's just I spent so much yesterday, and so tomorrow I'll probably be back to my old self. But if you notice, I do my best not to let that affect what I can bring to the table, right? I do my best to have the poker face, but sometimes when I think of something that's going to be put into development, or something gets put into development on the software, or training's coming, or something like the December Dash is about to start, I get super excited and I can't hide it. And no, I'm not quoting that song. Um, it's crazy, but true. And I have a habit and tendency to do that over the phone, which is I'm straight to business and I'm not smiling, but they also know that it's because I know I've already got the winning hand. Are they in or are they out? Right? I understand you got reservations. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it now though.
Yeah.
We got to talk about it
Yeah.
now. right?
No, my reservation is
No, no,
just
no. I
I
meant that's what I'm
oh,
saying
okay.
to. That's what I don't know if you
Sorry.
have reservations. I meant I'm talking to a potential client. Like I understand if you got
Okay.
objections. I understand you got to talk to your partner. We got to talk now though, right? Because it's
Mm,
now. The moment is now, not tomorrow, not next week, not after you talk to your dog. No, right?
okay.
Love my dog, but no. So, um, sorry, your reservation. You said
Uh, no, the last thing I was going to say is I think, and this is not some form of excuse or anything, I think I really need to also get used to the way you guys talk. I know you say I have to be myself,
no. You
but
do,
don't know.
you do. I'm laughing because it's true. You do a little bit.
Yeah, but you guys have a different level of excitement
Yes,
and
we
like
do.
different way. Like if I were to call a British person, say, "Hey, I've got this great thing that I want to sell you," they'll be like, "Whoa," you know. So I've got to get used to that, and I think it will just come the more people I talk to, and I'll
Focus more on the offer and being direct.
yeah, okay.
Your accent's going to come out no matter what you do. So,
Mm.
just like I do,
Oh yeah.
it comes out more often than not and in different times, different emotions. Um, at the same time, I focus more on the content, the delivery, what you need to hear, what you asked for, that kind of thing. What I have to share, not how I sound sharing it. And the how I sound kind of works itself out.
Mm.
Not
Okay.
always. I've given you tonal patterns to help you with that in case you don't know how to do that. But right now, you just got to get the words out, right? You just got to get the words out and feel comfortable enough doing it because if you're reading the words or if you're saying the words as if you're reading them or if you're slowing down or if you're pausing at the wrong times and you're not saying thanks for calling Papa John's, this is William, how can I help you? Now notice that's more or less how I teach you to answer the phone. Thanks for calling HVAC Direct Calls, this is William, how can I help you? As if I have answered the phone for the 259th time today. I don't
Mm.
have time for your bullshit. What do you want? And the reason I do that without saying I don't have time for your bullshit, and I say it in that form when I answer the phone, no matter what, is because not because I'm trying to be mean, but because I'm trying to demonstrate to other people on the phone I'm busy. I'm not too busy, but it's going to have to be good, right? And because I
Yeah,
don't
see,
have the time.
this would come across as rude over here.
Yeah,
So
it
that
would.
is what I'm trying. It would. This is what I'm trying to get used to and things
Well,
like that.
okay.
So
Do you guys have the lottery over there? I'm unfamiliar. Do you have
yeah,
the?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if I came to you with a winning lottery ticket, would you really give two shits how I sound? A
No.
winning lottery ticket, and you knew it was going to be legit because you could tell by the watermark on it or whatever, right? Or that you saw the numbers posted last night or whatever. And I came to you with like a $200 million, 200 million pound lottery ticket and said, Christina, you're not going to fucking believe it. And you don't know me from Adam. But I saw you in the store yesterday and saw that you had a name tag on that said Christina, right? The first thought is going to be that wow, what a fucking rude guy. No, your first thought's going to be this crazy son of a bitch has a 200 pound, 200 million pound lottery ticket. And then maybe after the fact, it might be, he wasn't rude, but that he definitely is an American. That's probably what you would have said, and that's probably what most Brits would have said. Typical Yankee, right? Even though I'm not a Yankee, I take offense to that. I am an American though, right? I am, and so I do American things. I say things Americanly, like that. Um, yeah, that whole thing. But at the same time, when you've got the winning ticket, I've got the golden ticket. You know what that's from?
Nope.
Blasphemy. You don't know that movie? Oh my goodness, you're missing out on a piece of Americana history. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
the original, not the Johnny Depp remake. And I love Johnny Depp, but
All
at the
right.
same time, not a good remake for him. Sorry. Um, I'm talking about the original. With God, what was the original actor's name that played Charlie? Whatever. Anyway, the point is, great movie, classic movie, and there's a little sing song part where Willy Wonka is giving out golden tickets to because he's closed down the chocolate factory because of spies and whatnot, and he he decides to give out 5 golden tickets, but he puts them in all the different chocolate bars, and it's a bit of a sing song, and one of them gets a golden ticket, and I've got the golden ticket. You've got the golden ticket. You're going to the
Hmm.
chocolate factory. In other words, 1 of 5. You have the winning hand. You have the ticket of a lifetime. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to sound? And I'm not saying you got to go in there sounding like us either. I wouldn't do that. I would go in there sounding like you would if you had the winning ticket, which means, like I said, the accent comes. How would you, man, what would you sound like if you had uh, a $2,000, well, no, shit, for the first year. So call it like a $30,000 lottery ticket that you could cash in, but you just need an American signature so that you can split it 50-50 with them.
Hey, kind of thing.
No.
No,
How would you sound?
I can't.
Try it.
Can't
Yes, you
picture
can. Well,
it.
yes, telling yourself you can is not an option because
No, no, no. Okay.
that's not going to work.
So you want me to
Yeah.
tell you what I would say?
I want you to start talking to me as if you have a lottery ticket, you need my signature, and you'll split it 50-50 with me, and that you can't cash it in without me.
Hey, William, guess what? I just won a lottery ticket for $30,000, and I actually need a favor. Okay, I'm going to British. I need a
That's
favor
fine.
from you, please.
That's fine. You can
Um,
say that.
uh,
Don't overthink
yep.
it. You need a favor. What do you
Um,
need? Who is this
um,
first off? You
this
said
is
Christina?
Christina.
From
Yep.
where?
From the Lottery Magical World.
Right.
Um, and yeah, basically this lottery ticket is ready to be cashed in. The only thing I need is an American person who can place a signature, and then what I will do is basically split the ticket half and half, the win, the money.
And how much money are
I,
we talking?
15,000 each.
15,000 each.
Yeah,
And all
I
I have to
doubled
do
to
is
you.
give you a signature?
Correct.
I mean, it sounds good, but I mean, $15,000? Like, I get it, but I got to give you my signature? Like, how do I know you're not going to rip my signature?
Hmm.
Are you calling me from the UK right now?
I am calling in from the UK. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so at least I know you live there. And I didn't know they had the lottery. Let me look that up real quick and see if they have. Yeah, they've got the lottery there. Fast forward in here. Um, $15,000. You're gonna have to. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, listen, William, this is really like a once in a lifetime opportunity. As I said, I just need a signature, and then we just split the winnings. And
Okay.
I don't know.
Here's
I'm really struggling to sell myself. Yeah, I know.
here's the thing. It's not about struggling. You're trying to again, Christina. Your default
Yep.
mode here is trying to sell
Ah,
you.
sorry.
It's okay. Your default mode is trying to sell you. I don't care about you. I don't know you like that. If I'm on the phone and I don't know you, right? I'm not obviously now. I'm saying if I was a prospect and you
Yeah.
were trying this pitch on me, I don't know you yet.
Mm.
You're not going to be able to sell me on you, but you can sell me on 15 grand. You're selling me money for a signature. Shit, even if I mean, my mind goes to $15,000. Well, even if it cost me 5,000 for a lawyer to fight a forging of my signature, I still come out 10 grand on top if I actually get to 15. Like,
So you think I should mention something like that?
my
Like
point
you're
is, my
protected
point is,
because.
my point is, forget about what you should have done. Think about it like this: sell in any way that you have, ethically, of course. But I just use my imagination because we're talking about a fictitious, scenario. It's fiction. It's not real. At the same time, I can use anything and everything at my disposal to get your signature. Like, listen, I mean, if I really needed your business, or if it was really urgent, then I would have said something like, there's a deadline for this. I mean, once they announce the
Mm,
lottery winners, I've got a week to turn this in, or maybe 2 weeks at the most before they move on, and they're not going to believe me. It's a legit ticket. Listen, here's what I want to do. You got an email address? Okay, great. I'm going to send you an email with a photo of the front and back of this car, or this lottery ticket. I'm going to send a photo as well of me holding the ticket, right? So that you can see I did that. I'll send you a photo of the receipt of where I purchased the ticket, right? And you'll also see that it's located in the same place that the area code of my phone number is. Uh, and so these are all signs that point to I'm legit. Here's what I want to do. I want to send you the forms um, to an address or a PO box, whatever you feel comfortable with, overnight via FedEx. I need an address to be able to do that. Let me grab that from you real quick. And you're just going to start telling me your address, because I shut up and let you tell me the address. Or you're going to tell me, if you're not going to give me the address, you're going to say, well, so how long is this going to take? And you say, well, once I have your address, I'm going to file this with FedEx. They're going to pick up the package and it'll be there tomorrow. It's an overnight thing. Yeah, it's across the pond, but we got these things called airplanes. It's going to get there real quick. And then once you sign it, you get it notarized and sign it rather, send it back. Inside of the FedEx, there'll be a return FedEx. That's how serious I am about this. And we're going to get you 15 grand and get me 15 grand too. So we all win. What's that address again? And I go right back. You follow? Like because I
okay.
want the business. I'm not saying you got to be a
Okay.
total a-hole, and by a-hole I mean American hole. You don't have to be an American hole about it. You just be you, but be you that
Straight to the
has
point.
calls
Yeah.
that need to go somewhere right now. I've got
Mm,
this ticket I got to get fucking signed. This paperwork that's got to get signed for this ticket to cash in to get my 30 grand. Even if I got to give 15 away, I'll do it to get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. It has nothing to do with, think of it this way. Think of it as you're British, skip the royalties and formalities.
okay.
Seriously, skip the
You know what
pomp
the
and
funny thing is?
circumstance. Skip the
The
pomp and
funny thing is,
circumstance. The
I've
dance.
been here only 10 years and I'm actually Italian, so I should be used to like being more rude. But no, no.
Well, you say rude, so it's all a matter of perspective. You say rude,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I
Like,
say business. Like, okay, you need proof of this. Do you know anyone in the UK that is a stockbroker?
nope.
Go meet some. You're probably not going to enjoy the experience, but I want you to do it. You know why?
To get a feel for how
How
they
they do
talk and
business,
okay.
not how they are in their personal life, because I could give two
Yeah.
shits about that, and neither could you. What you care about is how they choose to do business. And I'm gonna tell you something. The shit you're gonna hear is gonna be like, God Almighty, I had no idea it was like that. If you've never met them,
Okay.
I'm serious.
Mm,
Do
okay.
here's the other thing. With the way barristers are over there, do they speak the same way in court that they do in their personal life?
Of course not. No.
No, they even wear fucking wigs. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's old school. It's extremely old school.
Yeah.
I mean, you practically expect them to bust out, and like when I say no pomp and circumstance, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not saying there's no room for it. I'm just saying in our in in what we do, how we do it, who you're talking to on a daily uh, with prospective clients, it's not a good idea to have all that. Cut out all the fat, get right to it, right?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
urgency. Just like if you were going to the ER, British or not, you're gonna tell me in the ER room they break out all the pomp and circumstance if you're bleeding out by the neck? No,
No, no.
no.
Okay.
They treat you. Now afterwards, there's going to be a bit of British humor, if you can call it that. Uh, when you wake up, right? But not while you're bleeding out all over the damn place, right? You're gonna
Okay.
nobody cares what you say or how you. Man, you got blood everywhere. That's what you're gonna die. That's how they're looking at you. They're not going, wow, what a rude person. They don't. You're bleeding out from the neck and you're rude.
Okay, okay,
No,
okay.
that's not a fair assessment, right? Now,
Okay.
I say that knowing full well how most Americans are perceived, and also how even I am personally perceived. I'm not considered necessarily the nicest person from the people I work with, especially across the pond. But they also know that I mean well, that my heart's in the right place, and that I am who I am, and at least I'm authentic. I'm not full of shit, and I am the same way I am on the phone as I am right here, right now. So all that said, you know that there's consistency there. You know you're dealing with a real person. It's genuine. That's all I want you to be. I want you to be genuine, but I also want you to cut out the fat. You can be genuine and cut out the fat. You don't need small talk or chit chat, right? You don't need any of that. You don't need pomp and circumstance. You don't need all the niceties of conversation,
Okay.
which, interestingly enough, by the way, as a personal note, I enjoy. I like
Hmm.
a break from this kind of communication. I like going across the pond and saying, hey, this is how civilized people speak to each other when they're not on the phone doing business, right? This is how people should be
Oh
talking to
God.
each other. No, seriously, I feel that way and I enjoy it very much so. However, this is the business world. This is the U.S. business world, even more specifically. This is the hand we've been dealt. We play the hand we've been dealt. But then when we go home to the family, we're with the family. We're not at the card game anymore, right? Hand we've been dealt
Okay.
while we're at the table, yeah, but and you play it and you play it to the best of your ability. But when you go home, you're home. You're not at the table. So same concept here. When you go and talk to a couple of brokers in town, guarantee you're going to be like, wow, those guys are not what I thought they were. And a lot of that, yeah. Anyway, go do that. It's going to make sense. You're going to see that and use it to your advantage. But be authentic. Be you. There's nothing that says that you can't be you. And get shit done
Yep. Okay.
without
Thank
having
you.
to feel rude about it. Right.
Mm.
In fact, I would
Okay.
say at the risk of you, what happens if you're too rude to me?
I'm guessing you would tell me.
I might, or I might
Mm.
just like not even acknowledge it and be like,
Okay.
well, it is what it, like you, for example, could I have gotten offended or been offended by you saying you toasted me from earlier?
From what I can, from yeah, I guess someone else might have been. I don't think you would.
No, I wouldn't have, but I could have been. That was the
Yeah.
question. Okay. So how would I have, you think, reacted to that?
At worst, booted me out of the group.
Really? Wow, that's pretty harsh. No,
I'm saying
well,
at worst. At worst.
yeah. I'm talking about on the phone, like if we were on the phone doing a deal, I guess that's where my head is at. So
Okay.
when I'm speaking to somebody on the phone and they're telling me where they're coming from or what they're dealing with, hey man, I'm sorry, I just got a lot going on. I got kids screaming in my ears in the background. I got this going on. I'm in the middle of a job. I got a phone in one hand and I'm underneath the house and a wrench in my other. Can I call you back in 5 minutes? And when they say that, I don't even come close to offended. It's just or think that they're rude. Even if they say it in a tone that's very clearly like they they're not happy, right? I know
Mm.
it's not directed at me. It's just it is the situation that they're in, right? Like that is where they're at. And I just happen to catch them at that particular time. That's all. And for you
Okay.
to feel toasted, to go back to that, um, I knew that's just how you felt, not what I'd actually done. And again, it's subject to definition by anyone that's listening to it. So some people might go back and listen to that call and be like, "Oh, he totally toasted her," and some people will go back and listen to it and go, "Ah, you know, I can see where she thinks he toasted her and how she definitely felt that way. I can hear her feel that way, and I can also hear him not say sorry about it. And the reason I can't do that, by the way, is because it's not me saying those things, it's your business. I'm just the vessel, right? At the with those specific things that you were missing. Everything else, though, the reason you didn't feel that way before because we talked for a bit before that happened, right? And you weren't getting toasted, right? Uh, we talked for a bit, so that wasn't it. And then when it comes time to reconcile with what's done, what's not based on accountability, but more of what that's going to mean for the business, that's when that happened. That's when that shift happens, and everybody's going to be able to hear that. Not to put you on the spot, but it's actually a very cool case study because it shows like a few different things. Number one, I'm always going to shoot you straight, even if I think it might hurt your feelings initially. It's not meant to hurt your feelings. It's meant to uh, point you in the right direction, keep you on the path, um, without actually toasting you, right? Uh, because I feel like if I had toasted you, man, you wouldn't even be on the path anymore, maybe. You know what I mean? And that's not fair. Just because you had problems or stumbled a little bit, just to totally kick you off the path or drive you away from being on the path. No, that's not fair to anybody. So no, that's not going to happen. Uh, but yeah, there's a lot to be said about um, how those interactions play out and why that's a good case study and why you shouldn't worry about other people being live right now. Because I'm telling you right now, Christina, you've got a fan club. People are rooting, really, you do. People are rooting for you. I know I am. I'm probably your biggest fan, or one of your biggest fans at least. And on top of that, so many people relate and appreciate at the very least, but a lot of people actually relate directly to what we're talking about, how you feel, how some of the conversations I've had with them have made them feel when it's really not about the feeling side of it more than it is, hey, it's about getting the answers that you need and getting direct to the information. Much like I just described the sales call, you got to cut out the fat.
Yeah.
So when it comes to me and us working together, it's going to be cut out the story time. Now, if I ask you to tell me the backstory, that's a different story. That's a that's a that's because maybe there's some additional details I need to understand more about how you arrived at that decision so that I can help you fix that as well. And that comes after the problem itself is fixed, right? Like for example, I told you, hey, you want to look at the optimization, um, this and that. It needs to be done not necessarily right out of the gate, but definitely not a week out, especially with high call volume. And these are things that, and then I started going back on everything else, which is I backtracked, which is I gave you the answers there. And you wouldn't be in this situation had we gone this way with it and done this and this with it, right? So I backtrack on it so that you understand the cost of your decisions, right? Not that it's all negative, by the way. I'm just saying I want you to fully understand every decision you make has a cost, has consequences, positive and negative, or sometimes one or the other or both. Um, it's just something to be aware of in the business. And I'll tell you, right now, the lessons you learn are cheap. They cost you practically nothing, right? Maybe a little time. That's it. Later on, when your agency is no longer a dinghy in the ocean and it's a super freighter and it takes half an hour just to start turning the ship, okay, that kind of a that kind of a scenario, uh, these same lessons will cost you dearly if you learn them at that point. So if you don't learn them now, you get my point. You're gonna learn them later and you're gonna lose a lot of cargo, right? Which in this case would be clientele, staff, revenue, profit, your mind, your happiness. Seriously, you're
Especially.
going to lose a lot of shit,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't. Why would I want that for you? Hell no. I want the exact opposite. I want you to not be perfect, mind you. We all make mistakes, but losing one cargo container or two off an entire super freighter, not that big a deal. File an insurance claim, keep moving the ship. You know what I mean? Uh, but having issues with the entire ship, that's a problem, especially at that size. Now, the other thing about it is right now you're much more maneuverable because you're the dinghy in the ocean. You can turn that rudder and man, you're going to turn, right? You're going to turn quick. You do that in an ocean freighter, try to turn, it's going to take you 30 minutes. Crazy, crazy how that works. But you also have to consider the size, the sheer size and velocity and mass that super freighter is. You know, every move counts. Every move counts on that one. So every improvement you make on a campaign affects everything on the boat, everything on the ship rather. It's huge. It's huge. So hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
always I'm always on your team. You know I love you. I just want you to take a look at the mindset stuff and
Yeah.
take that break. Take that break. You need it, and you've earned it too. Don't think you haven't. Don't think you
Mm,
can't let up until you get a client. You'll get there. You'll get there this month. You're on,
okay.
even if you half-assed it between now and the end of the year, I think and believe strongly that you would still get there. Now, you may just get there if you half-ass it, but I also don't think you're a half-asser. So I really say you're finding progress in other areas and other ways. Come back to the alignment or in alignment with what I'm teaching, and you're going to see a lot faster results. Now, again, that may create some other challenges for you mentally, but that's also why I told you take a break first, work on that, look at the optimization. Let's meet back in the middle tomorrow. Cool?
Yeah. Regarding tomorrow, so should I keep the campaign going? I'm guessing until tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't stop it. I shouldn't stop. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to kill you. And also, you're going to have a chance to go in and do some optimization, and I'm going to be able to see
Yeah.
that and show you,
Yeah.
hey, that's a good start. Here's how we expand on that. Here's how we do it in full. And I think that's going to be great for you because you'll have done it. You'll see how I do it, and then you'll go back and do it the way I do it. And so now you've done it twice and seen it once. Actually, no, seen it twice because you learned it initially. So you've seen it twice, done it twice. That's pretty fucking good for a free trial client. I'm just saying. Like we capitalize, we take advantage, we leverage every situation, every phone call, every campaign, every dollar spent to the max, right? That's what I'm all
Mm-hmm.
about. That's what I teach you to be all about. So um, that's why I'm obviously
Okay.
not disappointed in you, right? I'm not because you made progress. If anything, I'd say that was probably, and you showed up. If anything, I'd say those are the most important things. And for everybody on attendance, speaking of showing up, sorry about that. I'm going to mark everybody as present for today. That's still in the running. So Scott Moody, Jeff Brewer, Bob Lee, Steve Taylor, Tim Blank, Christina Pucci, John Smith, Muhammad Zakir Hussein, Art Tatman, Adrian Bryan, Jerry Clark, Garrett Amon, Robert Cornack. You are all considered present. Okay. All right. Um, Back to comments. We got quite a few comments. Julian, you've been waiting in the wings. Apologies for that. What's going on?
Do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I just had a quick question with regards to procedure, and I did post it in the Facebook feed as well. And that is this: I'm noticing that Art has got off to a great start, and he's posting pictures of his sales invoices,
Yes.
but I'm not seeing call recordings.
Call
Are those to be
recordings are
sent
to
to
be
you
submitted to support. Yep.
to support directly?
Yep.
Okay,
You
that's
got it.
what I was.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Success team at Ring Ads. Right.
Okay,
Success
that's
team
wonderful.
at Ring Ads. That was it.
Yeah. Could I make a observational comment?
Absolutely.
Okay, I did think you posted Christina, and I
Okay.
looked at the towing group, and I'm getting the same results that they're calling these third-party dispatch companies motor clubs. And when you have mentioned to her, don't mention motor clubs, I'm thinking um, all the research I'm finding is that that's what they're calling them, motor clubs, AAA, Quest, and many others. So I was just surprised um, that you mentioned do not call them motor clubs because they wouldn't know what you're talking about, or they would not want to. I'm not sure the way you put it, but
What I
I
said is
noticed that
they don't use that word with
they don't
each
use that
other.
word,
With each
but
other.
I'm seeing it in all the forums
That's
that that's what they
fine,
use.
Julian. I don't care what you're seeing in the forums. What I care about is you not sounding like you're not one of them. Do you want to sound like one of them or do you not?
Well, if I say third-party dispatch, would that be better?
Julian, listen to the question, please. Do you want to sound like one of them or not?
I want to sound like a provider to them, but
No, incorrect. Do you want to sound like, I'll give you another shot. Do you want to sound like one of them or not? It's a yes or a no. Pick one. You can only be wrong once again. That's it. After that, you'll
well,
be right.
the
Do you want
only
to
one
sound
I've
like
gone
them?
to,
Do you want to
I want
sound
to
like
sound,
them? Yes or no?
yes, I want to sound like them.
Yes. Now, why did you pick that one?
Because when I said no, I wanted to sound like a third-party provider, you said that's not the right answer. So
Right.
the only other answer
If you
is,
want to sound like a third party provider, aka how they look at you would be then a telemarketer or a salesperson, you go right ahead and say motor clubs. Be my guest. Okay. All the research uses words like motor clubs, absolutely, so that you can find all the different motor clubs. But they refer to each motor club by its own brand name, much like Xerox used to be referred to as a copy machine or a copy, that for many years it was called a Xerox. Even a piece of paper that nowadays we call a copy, right, used to be called a Xerox because Xerox made that their brand, right, for many years back in the day. I don't know if you're around with that, but that's what it was like, and that's how it was. That was the experience. It's the same for every vertical, just with different words, different language. Learning the jargon on both sides, by the way. So motor clubs is helpful, but is it helpful in your sales conversations? No, I think we've established that. Where then would it be helpful? The word motor clubs or the phrase motor clubs. If it's not helpful to make sales with clients, who else would be would you need keywords for or words in general for? Kind of gave you a hint there.
oh, I don't really believe the end user is going to be using the
The
word motor club.
consumer, that's correct, and they will use words like motor clubs. That's why you're seeing it everywhere, Julian. Holy shit! Let's get some things straight. So when you're looking at all that stuff, right? They don't talk to each other the way you think they do. 100%. It's guaranteed. The reason you don't know that, also guaranteed, you're lacking some market research. And by market research, I'm not talking just google.com. That's part of it. I'm talking phone calls, talking to these guys. You're just not. And if you are, you've not done it to the level that I need you to do it at, which is what would probably be more concerning to me. Um, and that's why you heard me talk about motor clubs and say, don't say motor clubs. It's it very much makes you the person you're trying not to be on the phone in order to
So I would say something like, are you getting calls from third-party dispatch companies like AAA or Allied Dispatch or
how about you
Quest
shorten it
or
up? You getting calls from AAA? How about Good Sam, any of those others? Shorten it up. It's
so
way
to
too
just
long of a question.
right, so just mention the main one.
Just cut
You
out the
know,
fat.
okay. And I mean, I'm seeing what they're paying for those, and I'm seeing some of the issues that they're getting with those kinds of calls. Um, I'm just not noticing. Uh, I haven't done the calls yet to find out what are they charging an end user directly. For example, if somebody was in an accident on the motorway, then it's likely that the police recovery is going to be calling them to dispatch them out, and they're maybe on a rotation with the local police department or local county police department. But if somebody was, say, had a blowout on the motorway and it wasn't an accident and they were conscious, then they may, call for roadside assistance or something like that. Um, if they don't call their insurance company, then they're going to do Google search. And if they do Google search, then they're going to want to see who comes up. If that's the case, then I don't know how they quote pricing directly, because when a AAA they simply say, okay, it's a flat fee of XYZ plus a certain amount per mile to the local,
Okay.
wherever they want to take them to.
Couple
And those
things,
fees,
Julian. First off, you're not charging anybody for AAA calls. You don't drive AAA calls, so put them in your negatives, and not just AAA, but all the different providers, right? All the different brand names. You don't, you're not running calls for any of those services because of the fact that they run through their own program, right? It's not good. You want to run calls direct. Your targets are also, you will run into some calls coming in from Rex and whatnot, but it's mostly breakdowns and
yeah,
service and also towing from place to place, right? So you got to get clear on that. The other thing is, um, when it comes to how they charge, I'll give you some hints, and then the rest you actually need to go. Again, it tells me market research is seriously lacking because you can even find that information online. You need to dig. You need to dig a hell of a lot deeper than you currently have. Um, but I'll tell you that their pricing model typically is a hookup fee and per mile, X dollars per mile in a lot of cases. And around metro areas, it tends to be much higher per mile. However, the other services, that's if they get a call direct to them. If they get a call through AAA, they can only charge so much and they have limitations per mile as well. Okay. Um, knowing what those limitations are, helpful. No, not required, but helpful. Speaking to your client in an educated form about those limitations and how you don't have them makes your calls infinitely more valuable, but not if you don't do the market research. And so I'm going to have probably the same conversation with you that I had with Christina. And so I hate the idea that you felt that I toasted Christina on the last call, but it might be that I'm going to be toasting you on this call. So, um,
no, I don't see that you are. You're just trying to guide me. I see that.
well, my question to you now is, after all these questions from you, is why is the market research not where it needs to be? Because I know you know
I
that.
just, yeah, I have not called the end user. I've been doing research. I know what they charge for hookup fee. I know what they charge per mile. I know
Okay.
what they charge for bringing out gasoline, 3 gallons. I know what they
Okay.
charge for a lockout fee. I know what they charge for a jump start. I know those fees
Okay.
in general. I mean, it's going to vary, depending, of course, on
A
how
lot of
far it
things.
is
Yeah.
to get to service that pole, if it's within 5 miles or 10 miles. But if it's out in a country lane and it's a 25-mile drive, it's going to be very, very different. There is a mileage fee. I
Yep.
just don't know how they would negotiate that with an end user. That's all.
How they would
Because I know
negotiate
that,
that with an end user, they would usually just tell them the price. Like they quote them the price as they call up before they send out the wrecker, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
But I
dispatch
don't know
does that.
if they say, it's going to be X amount of dollars, depending on what I say, where are you? And they say, well, I'm on Highway 25 by Junction or close to Junction 4 or whatever it is, and
Right.
you know, on the southbound lane. I'm just guessing. And they say, okay, from where we are, it'll take us 35 minutes to get to you, and the cost is going to be
They
this
usually give a
much
they
to
usually give a range, right?
this much. And they said, depending upon where you want to go, do you want to go to a local mechanic shop to get things sorted out, or because it's a pickup, then where they're going to drop them off. Or if they say, well, what's the issue? Well, I just ran out of petrol. Well, I can be with you in 35 minutes, but it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to deliver the gasoline to get you going again.
More or less.
Things like that. I understand that part of it. I just, and then there's what's called a GOA, which is gone on arrival, where
Yep.
somebody has called several companies, and the first one that gets to them deliver the petrol is the one that gets the business, and the other one is, well, tough luck, mate. You didn't arrive in time. There are those sort of things, which if it was through a third party company, they would be getting paid $20 for that gone on arrival dispatch fee. But if it's done live, done directly with the end user, well, they're out because they haven't charged them up front, unless they say, okay, we'll do this. We will charge you X amount of dollars up front on a credit card. And when we deliver you to where you need to be, we'll do the extra mileage and then charge you the final amount.
What's your question?
I don't know how they operate from that point of view, as to whether or not they would do
every company's different on gone on arrivals, right? Since you're bringing that up, most gone on arrivals, by the way, are just lack of attention to detail. Someone that fell through the cracks. It's not a who got there first in most cases. Occasionally that'll happen. That's their excuse. Most of the time it's because the tow company didn't get there for 3 hours and they called somebody else and still they showed up too late. And ask me how I know that.
It's happened to you
Because I've fucking been through that. I've lived through that a couple of different times, and not just me, people I know. You can read about it all over the forums if you look hard enough, and they're never going to come. Just like nobody wants to give me a straight answer when I ask them a straight question. Nobody on that end of the phone, business-wise, is going to give you a straight answer on that. They're not going to just flat out admit to you and openly tell you, unless they're a client of yours for like 6 months. Then they'll start off with, yeah, probably half of our gone on arrivals are, and if they say probably half, it's way more than half are that way. And most of them are, believe it or not, which sucks because if there's one service that you need when you need it when you need it, that would be the one of them anyway. It's like 911 for your motor vehicle, you know what I mean? And for it to be not even close or in the same ballpark as responsive as what 911 is for us, emergency response, it kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. But that is what it is. It's worse on the weekends, by the way, because of volume increase, and it's worse in metro areas. So you can imagine weekend in a metro area, it really, really sucks. So, but these are things that conversations that you have with each individual client. Everyone has their different ways that they handle that. They either put more people on staff, more trucks on the road, or they hire a better dispatch person. A lot of times the dispatch is the one that dropped the ball, and sometimes it's not even the dispatch's fault because it's the volume. It's only one person can only do so much. But had they had the right software, there's another word for you to start looking at when it comes to towing. There's specific towing software, actually several different software for dispatch. And
I've looked at a few.
Okay.
I have looked at a few. Some of them have shown software that they're using, what their fees are, and how it works with TomTom, TomTom Telemate Pro. How it gives an exact location. It can update things in time, various other things like that.
Good. So
I have noticed one question is would you work with smaller companies? Because I've seen in my own experience where I was waiting on a tow truck, they said it'll be sometime between 2 and 5. It didn't arrive till 8. Whereas when I called AAA, they said it's going to arrive in an hour. It arrived within an hour. When I called State Farm, they said we'll have somebody out there within an hour, arrive within 30 minutes. And when I've spoken with these smaller companies, they've said, well, they have 2 tow trucks, but if they can't, they're really busy, they will outsource it to a third party who then picks up on their behalf and sort of split fee. Would you work with a small outfit, or are you looking for, or should I just look at companies that have 4, 5, or more tow trucks available?
Depends on the service area and depends on how small. My main concerns are whether they're able to take the phone calls that I give them and service them well, and also if they're willing to grow, meaning reinvest in their business and put another truck on the road to keep handling the calls that it can increase for them. It's also a good idea why I like to do 3 to 5 clients in one city or one area, because that enables me to find the 1 to 2 clients that are going to be good clients all around, not just on delivery and service, but also how many calls they can take, how many calls they actually purchase, if they bitch and moan constantly or not, all those kinds of things, to whether or not I find a good client. So I never go after one or two clients. I never go after small or big. I go after 3 to 5 in each area, ultimately, not all at the same time, but over time, 3 to 5 clients in each area. That's what I've always taught, and I will continue to teach because that's what works.
Okay. And
Okay.
then would you round robin those calls
No, I
to
would
them?
not. No, I
Mhm.
would not.
Okay. You would just send it out there and see.
Separate
Okay.
campaigns, they're separate companies, they have different needs.
Okay. I think that it needs to be very, very granular, unless we're talking about Montana or somewhere like that, because of congestion and mileage charges to get somewhere and things like that. So it needs to be, when you showed zip codes, right down to zip codes and so forth, it needs to be really, really granular for this type of business in terms of targeting which calls go to which agent or which calls go to which company.
Yeah, it needs to be campaign specific to each client. Every client's like a fingerprint or snowflake. I've already said this before many times. Locations are not the same, products and services are not the same, hours are not the same. And if they all are the same, the combination of those three are not going to be the same, guaranteed. Snowflakes and fingerprints, no two are alike ever. So I don't do round robins. Round robin
Okay.
is for within a company and you want to test out two new hires, and see who is better on the phone at the front desk. That's what a round robin is used for, in my mind.
Okay.
You could use it the way you just asked about, but I would not do that. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, right?
Okay. All
So
right.
that's how I would use a round robin, and that's a very rare scenario. So very,
Would you suggest I still charge for missed calls or unanswered calls on these things?
what do you think?
Uh, well, I've seen my competition say yes, that they charge for calls within the service area and missed calls, but not for sales calls, not for jobs, not for things that are not um, a direct client. So everybody else I've seen have said yes, they would charge you for the missed call.
Don't care about what everybody else is saying. I know what everybody else is saying. I asked you.
Well, personally, I would prefer to charge them for a missed call because that way they realize that every call comes in needs to be handled. If they are lackadaisical about it, then why would I continue to send them calls? And they just say, well, I couldn't get to it and I'm not going to pay you for it.
And so, what do you do to manage that with the client?
I would set expectations that this is a valuable call. And if you get a missed call, then you need to call them back right away because this
Good.
is a live person
And
who
when do
needs
you, and when do
service.
you, yeah, I got you. I'm trying to speed this up. We're 2.5 hours in on an hour call. When do you, when do you set those expectations with a client?
Before they send me the money, that they know the expectations of
That's
what they're
correct.
going to do right up.
Any other time?
Um, I would also do it when, um, you know, I'm thinking that in the first week I would send them a weekly report, and then after the first 2 months I would send reports less often, um, but you know, they would have the ability to look in and see what they're doing, and uh, I think that if I'm working with companies that are using software, then that call is going to pop up on their screen and they're going to know it's from me.
Okay. I'm going to ask again. Is there any other time? And let's try and keep the answer short, right? Try not to overthink it. Just think simple. Is there any other time that you would manage the expectations with the client on missed calls?
Well, I would do it
If you're,
when the bill-
do
when
you
the
have
billing is
children? Do you have
coming in.
children?
I have fathered children. Yes,
Sorry, you have what?
I have fathered children. They're
You
grown now.
you fathered children. Okay, so when your children were babies, and let's say one of them shit on the floor, right? And knew that they shouldn't have done that. And by babies, I don't mean crawling babies, like 5, 6 year olds shit on the floor, knows they should be in the shitting on the toilet, right? Uh, you
Hmm.
cleaned it up the first time. Is that fair?
Yes, and then I would tell them right away that this is something that's unacceptable,
Right.
and this is and show them where the right place to do it is.
And is that the last time you ever talked to them about it?
Well, this is theoretical because my children have done that,
I know it's theoretical. Your children are grown.
even when they were 5 years old, they never did.
Okay.
But nonetheless, I would do it a number of times to make them know that it's not acceptable. But what you're saying is when somebody does something wrong that they know they ought not to do, how many times do you inform them that this is something that's unacceptable behavior? And I would do a number of times until they get to the point. But you know,
Until they get the point. You know when I would do it for missed calls? Every time.
um, okay,
Every time. I don't care if it's been 6 months since they've had a relapse and they relapsed or whatever. Every time there's a missed call, you're gonna hear from me about it. And not in a negative way or a bad way, but very much a, hey, missed call, that's still going on. Everything okay? Everything okay? You hear me say that a lot. Why? Because maybe not everything is okay, right? Maybe not. Well, if not,
well,
then I need to know what so that I can adjust accordingly, right? Maybe they just forgot to say something to me, and this is a friendly reminder of them. I give people an easy way to communicate with me by doing things like that and saying things like that. Uh, you can't not address it. It needs to be addressed every single time, every single time. And the best way to do that is to communicate weekly with your clients now until forever, till they're no longer your client or until you sell the business. Not weekly for a couple of months and then stop. You said reports though, but reports are pale in comparison to actual communication once a week. You don't have to do 2.5 hour coaching calls or anything like I do. I get it, but you do need to speak to your clients at least once a week. Okay.
will ring ads. Do you have a vision for it to be able to send out a text message as well as a direct call,
It's
just
hard
in case
to
the
who?
call sent to the end user? I
To the
know of
end
software
user,
where the my client,
to the consumer or the client?
no, my client,
Your
my
client,
client.
that's already built into the system. What are you talking about?
So they get a text message
They
as
can
well
get,
as
they can receive a text message. They don't just get one for getting one, right? They can get one though. Yeah, if you have it set in the settings, as well as an email or both.
okay.
You can
All right, I
send
didn't know.
text messages to 5 different people on staff at the same time from the same campaign. You can send 5 different emails and 5 different text messages about that same call, missed or not, to 5 different people if there were 5 different chiefs over there, right? Not that there would be. I'm just saying that's the capability you currently have.
I didn't realize. It's been a long time since I looked at the settings.
You know, I would say, hmm, I'd say there's some things that you should probably brush up on. Uh, but more than anything, the biggest concerning thing to me is not necessarily software. Some of the things that concern me about what you've said so far have been market research based. I would seriously go back and look at that stuff and dig deeper. It's the same thing about pretty much with what I was telling Christina earlier. So,
Okay.
anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. And just for reference, because I do like to keep an open mind as much as possible here. Why? What about the conversation that I had with Christina made you feel like I toasted her?
Because when she said that she found that the most of the companies that she's targeting or would like to do business with, from her research, are getting their calls from motor clubs. And you said don't use that term, motor clubs, and they don't use that term. And her face changed, and I was surprised because I see that they're talking about motor clubs, and they even just abbreviated to MC. And they do name the clubs, but they do refer to them as motor clubs. So that's why I was surprised when you said don't use that term.
Okay.
And
But
the way you said
surprise,
it,
hold on. Surprise. Okay, so now you're getting to it. The way you said it, what?
the way you said it seemed to be adversarial as opposed to a guidance. That was all.
Oh, okay. Adversarial. Well, again, if I'm representative of what your business needs, in a lot of cases, not every case, but if I'm just a reflection, then and you would consider me adversarial in that, then what does that mean to you now that you know that?
Well, I suppose like a football coach, you could be pulling the reins hard. So
Really, pulling the reins hard. Ouch. I mean, I get that there's culture differences. I'm the first to acknowledge it, right? Pulling the reins hard. Have you ever seen me pull the reins hard? What's that judgment based off of? Other people that you interact with or me?
no, I no, I suppose it was your tone, and I suppose it was her reaction to your tone. So and I thought it was. I felt like a little bit
So let me clarify. You
confused.
felt you,
I felt it was. I was a little confused as well when I had seen the same sort of research that she had, and I was just wondering, well, why wouldn't you? Why would it be wrong to use that term if they are talking about these
I didn't
companies?
say it would be wrong,
Well, you suggested to her not to use that
and I
term
still
because they
suggest
don't use.
that. I still
Yeah.
suggest that, right?
Okay.
Now, why would I do that? I've already given you the answer on this. Why would I do that?
You're saying that in order to be accepted as the one who's an insider into the business or understands the business, then simply call the spade a spade. Don't
If you
use the generic term.
if your
Use a
if your
common.
purpose is to stand out, or excuse me, fit in, if your purpose is to fit in amongst a crowd of 100,000 people all wearing red, what color do you wear if you're trying to fit in?
Correct.
Right. You saying motor clubs, you're wearing lime green, brother. Good luck. Not saying it's impossible. You can find lime green though in a sea of red, right? That's going to be easy, easy. Uh, Even in that big of a crowd, may take somebody a little bit of time, but you will be found. Kind of like Where's Waldo, right? But way more obvious. And that's my point, right? So when I say don't say motor clubs, don't say motor clubs. And part of the reason that that was reflected back to her, and she felt like that was maybe me toasting her, which again, feeling like being toasted and actually being toasted, I can assure you, Julian, neither of you have seen me toast anyone, and you don't want to.
Yeah,
Nobody
I get that.
does. Okay.
I get that. You
That
did
that
mention
stated, yeah. So you kind of pointing that out, I respect that opinion. I just want you to be aware that uh, when it comes to feeling and actually doing, it is perspective, 100%. The other thing is this, with what she's with what she was asking me about and having a conversation with me about was the market research, which, if you notice, is something that outside of the whole motor club thing is something that you're not tip top on either, and it happens to be the exact same vertical she's in. And I find it odd that not really, but I find it strange that you guys have or ironic, there we go, that you both have a lack in market research currently and are kind of feeling the same way about things. It's not a me thing, I can promise you. I'm the common denominator, but only because I'm showing you what your business is requiring of you price wise that hasn't been paid yet. While I will say based on some of the things that you and I have discussed, you and I, Julian, in this call, you definitely have paid more of that price. I will give you that. Because you're mentioning GOAs, right? Like, but that's a rare occurrence, and anybody that's focused on that or concerned about that knows that they have a problem with that. And now it's a question of how big is that problem, and if you want them as a client because of how big that problem is, if that makes any sense. Just to kind of come back to that, but um, I want you to understand that um, that's what I see. That's as long as you know where my head's at, where my heart's at, uh, and know that you actually haven't seen me toast anybody yet. I haven't, guys. I've had business partners totally screw me over, drop ultimatums, uh, tell straight up lies as recent as a few weeks ago. Um, no one has seen me toast them. So why would I even start toasting people that I actually seriously care about and am trying to help, right? Like, uh, let alone people that you would think would be sworn enemies, even though they're not. Um, they're just not good people, and they're lying to a lot of other people, and it needs to be corrected. Outside of that, that's my only concern, right? And that's how I feel about them. People that have totally screwed me over. You guys haven't done that to me, not even close. So of course I'm going to help you, and not only am I going to help you, I'm going to do it from a place of love. Um, so yeah, I get that it may make you feel that way at times. I want you to acknowledge that and be aware that what the actual case is it's just the business. It's just the business. If I'm not happy or not in a good mood, you're going to hear me say it. How many times have you heard me say, "Hey, I'm not my best today. Hey, I'm not feeling well today. Hey, I'm going to do my best today because of this and that, and I was up all night and I was working on this, um, and so maybe I'm not in the right state." How many times have you seen me breathe in and out, take a breath? Oh, wait a minute. Let me take a second. Let me think about what I'm saying here. Let me hear what you're saying. Right now, there's times where my fuse is shorter, 100%, because I'm human. Um, I don't believe that was that day. If anything, I was pushing her to understand, Christina, to understand what comes of lack of market research. And I think that point was made, pretty sure, not just to her, but to everyone. And it's very easy, especially in a live stream scenario. I mean, kind of makes me wonder if December Dash daily live streams is a good idea because uh, there's value and there's benefit, sure. But there's also a lot of you are saying, oh, I don't like being put on the spot. Well, then, what are we doing? Like, how do I help you then? Because I'm not going to do it one on one. I can't. I can't do that for everybody. I wish I could. If I could, I would. So here we are, and I'm doing the best I can. It's an extremely fine line to walk, um, and I hope you guys recognize not that, but where you're at in the business and what I'm telling you is not it's not a me thing. Most certainly isn't. If it was, most of you uh, would be in an employment situation with me. In other words, I would have hired you, and then I would have already fired you if that was the case, right? I'm just
Hmm.
saying. If I hired you and you did not follow my instructions, you don't get a second chance with me if it was deliberate. You're gone. And by the way, if you're not thinking that way for as a business owner for when you hire people, you're going to be hurting because people are going to walk all over you and take advantage of you, right? And you're going to go under because of it, most likely. That happens a lot, believe it or not. I just don't want those things for you. And the only way I know to explain that is to show you. And sometimes it ain't pretty to look at that. I get it. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Still, again, very valuable uh, topics to cover and to have experiences to have gone through um, on all sides. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I just want to make sure that it's serving more of a purpose than not. Um, Julian, did you have anything else or any questions about what you need or what you got coming up? You good to go
Yeah,
or
I know what I have coming up. I'm just a thought came to me is so I would put every single because as far as I'm aware, well, I'm not no well so. if somebody has joined Allied Direct or Allied Dispatch or Quest or any of these clubs, there would be a negative keyword because there would be somebody calling that company directly on their policy to get somebody to dispatch to them. So every single one would be, so if I would put Geico insurance recovery or Geico roadside assistance as a negative keyword, correct?
Okay, you took forever to ask that. I apologize. Can you simplify? Can you rephrase? Can you shorten?
I would put every single roadside assistance club that somebody has joined as a negative keyword. Because the likelihood is that if somebody has put that in for a search term, they're looking to contact their own provider as opposed to somebody who's local.
You should put everything motor club related because that's what the consumer is thinking. That's the words they use, the words they think of. So brands included, yes, absolutely, but also words that describe those brands, the ones that your clients don't actually use with each other.
Okay, that's fine. Thank
Do
you.
you, do you know why? By the way, do you know why? Real quick, do you know why they said that? Why they don't say that word?
Why the roadside assistance recovery companies don't use that word?
Right.
No, I don't know why.
Can't even take a guess.
Um, no, I can't think of a reason why they would use that term.
Well, if the
Um,
consumers use it, would it make sense for them to use it? When I say motor
um,
clubs, is that specific?
no, it's in general.
It's very generic, very general, very vague. So if I'm a towing guy or a dispatch rather for a towing company in most cases, uh, what do I need? Do I need generality? Do I need vagueness? Do I need
Oh,
specifics?
no, we want specifics.
Yeah, I need to know
However,
everything.
it's going to still be general in that, for example, if I say um, emergency roadside assistance, that's pretty general. That means I'm open to anybody who can help me. But if I said State Farm roadside assistance, that means I'm calling my policy for somebody to come and help me.
Right,
And if State Farm dispatches somebody and on the side of the truck it says Mike's Towing as opposed to State Farm roadside assistance, I don't care
right.
because State Farm has dispatched the local company.
But
If
that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the providers themselves, your clients, are not going to use the phrase motor club. They're just not going to use it. And I'm sure there are exceptions to that rule, but it is a rule, right? Like they're not going to use that because they're looking to know if you, like they half the time they don't even consider the calls they get to be looking for if they take AAA or whatever because they know that people call AAA to do AAA. So they're expecting it to be a legit call, right? And when somebody says, "Oh, is this not AAA?" then obviously you've got some work to do on the campaigns. But every great once in a while, a call like that will slip through. No big deal. Adjust accordingly if possible and move on, right? But I'm telling you right now, if you want to sound like, if you want to wear that lime green shirt in a sea of 100,000 red shirts, say Motor Club. Keep saying that to your clients. To your clients. Now, for your consumer end and the ad copy, it's definitely something to work in there. Absolutely. Um, no motor clubs, things like that, or all motor clubs accepted except AAA, whatever, right? Um, ask about our discount, all kinds of things that can be spun off of that or treat off of that, branched off of that rather. All right, cool. We're approaching 3 hours now, and I don't want to rush or anything, but we've got all of us, we've got stuff to do. I just want to make sure that you have everything you need. So, Julian, you're good,
Yep.
yeah?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
cool. Appreciate you, man. Christina, I think you're good, right? You don't have anything. Let me check the comments real quick and then we'll bounce
I'm
out of
good.
here.
Thank
Okay. Um, let's see here. What do we got? Nope, that's not it. That's it. What a past MLM mentor of mine called stinking thinking or beating yourself up. Yep. Sad world. Sometimes. Most times not, though. Just a quick question. This is from Julian on posting results to the Facebook group page. Oh, that was the question you asked earlier. Cool. So we took care of that. Good. Happy to help. John Smith, tried this on. There are only 10 horrible people in the world. They just move around a bit. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that, John. That's a good way of looking at it. Jerry's got to go. Have a nice day. Cool. Um, okay, you guys are talking to each other about support, submitting call recordings. Adrian, Brian, are we on a break? Step away from the computer for 5 minutes. I see the ring ads phone only. Yeah, I took a quick break. No, it wasn't a lost picture. Man, I wonder if you guys are watching me on mute or something. It's kind of weird. Would you be so kind to excuse me for the day? Yes, Mohammed, you are excused. Apologies for the call going as long as it did before I started the attendance thing. That was my bad. That's on me. I did mark you present. Adrian, Brian, I lost pictures. Well, everything's good. Everything's good. Getting very late. Please mark me present. You got it. What time today will attendance be marked? It's already been marked, Adrian, and I marked everybody. So you got your. Yep. I just confirmed. You got your mark. You're golden. So. All right, I'm gonna bounce out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, 11 a.m. sharp. All right, bye for now, guys.